Sports. KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your home for the Oakland A's every weekend.
And it's swung on line to left center, base hit, and the A's have won it on a walk-off line drive, base hit to left center.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines. Happy Tuesday, I'm Simone, and these are your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers dropped their second consecutive game last night with a 22-17 loss to the Minnesota Vikings.
Purdy steps up, gets to his right, throws middle. It is intercepted by Bynum. The 49ers lose again.
With the Bengals crouched on the horizon and a short week ahead, the faithful have to find a way to enter their bye week at 6-2 rather than 5-3. For more on the state of the Niners, tap into the return of the Empire Show immediately following the Drive Guys tonight, right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023-24 NBA season is finally here, and ahead of tip-off Tuesday night, Whitey and Jerry will be unveiling their expert predictions and previewing the Kings season opener tomorrow over in Utah. And finally, Rangers punched their ticket to the World Series with an 11-4 victory over the Astros last night.
Hello, World Series! The Rangers have won their third American League pennant.
And the fate of the NLCS rests on Game 7 tonight between the Diamondbacks and Phillies, beginning at 5:07. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Welcome in to the Drive Guys.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Well, Kyle Draper, as we told you yesterday, Kyle Draper on his way to Salt Lake City. He's got the call tomorrow night for the Kings opener against the Jazz. So a very special guest joining us, as you know, if you heard the crossover. All-time Kings icon. I don't know how else to describe him. The beloved Jerry Reynolds. Thanks for coming in today, Jerry.
Kind of big shoes to fill with Kyle. I don't know. I'll try to get a toe in there some way.
Now, yesterday, he, in some ways, it's a relief to some Niner fans that he's not going to be here today because he did predict yesterday that it was going to be kind of tough sledding for the 49ers. And some of us, myself included, disagreed with him. There was talk, oh, you're going to be eating crow today, Kyle Draper. He wouldn't have to do that. But you're not an Eagles fan, are you, like Kyle Draper is?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Good Lord, no.
Chiefs fan, I know, but
yes.
Can you tolerate the 49ers?
Yeah, I like the 49ers. I mean, if I had a second favorite team, it would be the Niners. I've kind of been here a long time. I've enjoyed them, and over the years, even to some degree. And now I really like this team. I didn't like them a lot last night, but I think they're one of the real best teams.
Yeah, we're all over both today. The 49ers untimely loss and the opening of the NBA season. Jer, as you probably know, I know we've talked about it all day here on Sactown Sports. You've got, of course, 2 games tonight. You got the Nuggets and you got the Lakers opening the NBA season. Then we got the Warriors and the Suns. And I know that this is hardly a news flash, but I still have a hard time wrapping my head around it. This will be the first time Kevin Durant has played before Warrior fans since he left the Warriors in 2019. That's incredible.
That is incredible. You know, and I mean, it does point out how much he's been hurt. That's what it really points out. And of course, you know, the Suns are counting on him being healthy this year, which is tough to count on.
Right.
And Bradley Beal out tonight. And of course, he's been out a lot of nights in the last couple of years.
Well, I thought all the players are playing now. I thought it's an 82-game league for everybody, player participation policy, no more load management. I thought we're good. We didn't have any more of that.
Well, I think the idea is guys play if they're healthy to play, but obviously if they're not healthy, and whether we'll come up with new excuses as opposed to load management won't be tolerated.
Gotcha.
You know, the proverbial flu-like symptoms or back spasms or sore toes.
Yeah.
will be used.
Is Devin Booker playing tonight? Do you know?
He's playing.
Okay.
He's playing.
He's got the sore toe, right?
He's got the sore toe. Gonna give it a go.
Mm-hmm. So you got to be excited. 2 good games tonight.
Oh, 2 really good games. You know, we'll tell you almost nothing. There's so many games, but you know, you can still, you know, I can still cheer for certain teams to lose. I'm not necessarily don't worry about who's winning, just who's losing.
Where are the Warriors on your anti-scale? We know the Kings, love the Kings. Kings are the greatest. at the other end of your scale, and a lot of people feel this way, you got the Lakers. And now the Warriors and Kings can't have that rivalry. Where are the Warriors on that scale?
They're number 2.
Are they really?
They're moving up fast.
Number 2 to the Lakers on that side?
Yeah. Yeah. And, the reason, of course, is to their credit. And I have a tough time they're such a class organization, with the coach. And, of course, Bob Myers is GM for years now, Mike Dunleavy. But the players, are, Steph is, and with the exception of Draymond Green, really some classy young people always have been, and so it's tough to be against them.
I've
got there. Yeah. But I've got there.
I know it's cliche, but they play the game the right way, and that team, for the most part, they really do.
They really
selfless, and they play defense, and
yeah, I've always said they're a team that you look at the coach and their star. Steph and Kerr, and I mean their personalities and how they want to play and do play, it just blends just right. That to me, they're a lot of good that can be said about them, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like for them to make sure they don't win as much as the Kings.
It's nice that we finally have this rivalry, isn't it? Of course, Friday night, Kings home opener against the Warriors. Who could ask for anything more?
Well, yeah, it's getting to be now for you have a rivalry, you need to start winning more against them, and I think that will happen if soon, if not right away. But it's for both teams to be good at the same time. It's never happened till last year,
mm-hmm.
and so how long can this last? I don't know, but I think there's potential several years where teams can they'll be rivals.
I think, Jerry, you and I are on the same page here. A lot of people are going gaga over the Suns, and I understand all that. But I think you, and of course, your opinion holds a little more weight than mine, not crazy about the Suns' chances. I mean, we'll see, but I'm color me skeptical on the Suns this year.
Yeah, color me skeptical too, and it's all about health and then not having a true point guard. Because I think, can Booker play the position? Probably can, but
he's better when he's not, right?
He's better when he's not. So you're taking a guy who was a great off guard and going to make him a middle of the pack point guard maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the injury factor. And there's no doubt if Durant's healthy all year and Booker's healthy all year and Beal's healthy all year, yeah, they could be really good even with the point guard thing. But why would you count on that? Those, especially Durant and Booker, have played less than Anthony Davis the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and it's a long season, as you know, hard to count on that. I wanted to see what you thought of this. Kyle Draper actually texted me this. This is something on Twitter from Kevin O'Connor, who I believe is an analytics-based guy who writes for I think he writes for The Athletic, if I'm not mistaken. He says, this season will prove the Kings need to upgrade over Sabonis to seriously contend for a title. I love what Sacramento is building, but Sabonis is a limited defender. He has lots to prove as a shooter. Finding a front court partner or an upgrade will be the next step. Kevin O'Connor is among those who feel that Sabonis is not good enough to get the Kings where they want to get to. Did they not watch the games last year?
Not really.
They really didn't, did they?
It's like, yeah, you'd like an upgrade over. That would be Jokic. Keep going, and I mean, it's
Embiid, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very small group. And to say, well, you can't win a championship with Sabonis as your center. Well, you could say the same thing about Embiid right now. You haven't won any with him at center.
Yeah.
Or just about whoever you want to mention. Yeah, I mean, Jokic, you can't say that. Bam Adebayo, I mean, how many has he won as a starting center?
I know that when they made the trade, the Halliburton trade, I love Halliburton. I was not sure the trade was going to work, but you were one of the people who from the get-go felt that the Kings were getting a great deal in Sabonis, and yet there are people in the national media who look at Sabonis and say, yeah, he's not all that. And I just don't know how you can say that after the year he had last year.
Well, it's tough, but I mean, one thing I've learned over the years is the so-called analysts and experts, once they say something, regardless how wrong it turns out to be, they can always spin it and couch it to cover themselves. And yeah, it clearly is a good trade for both teams. Having said that, I mean, I was a huge Halliburton fan, but the truth is Indiana hasn't won more than 25 games in 2 years now.
Yeah.
So this is a big test for that team. And I'm sure, there's more people got some questions that direction. But Sabonis, all I know is that people can say what they want, but he gets about 19 points a game on about 11, 12 shots, shoots 60%, shoots 75 in the free throw.
You rebound it all, Jerry?
He's leading rebounder in the league, more than the championship centers of which we don't know their names.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Incredible. It really is. So, but that's always been the way. There's always been certain players really not respected enough, in every period of the game.
Mm-hmm. Is it all going to come down to defense for the Kings, the extent to which they can be better? Does it all come down to how much better they can be on defense?
I think it does.
It seems like it.
I think they're a known product offensively, and I think they'll be as good, if not better. Coach Brown has proven that, and the players are unselfish and getting better. So to really be a contender, they've got to become a better defensive team. And I think just the fact they've got the same guys gives them a chance to be better. Not Detroit bad boy Pistons type, but better.
Thank goodness they're not going to be like that team, right? They just
well, I don't know. I might go for that.
Really?
Go for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Some would be effective, I guess. Yeah, I think a lot of the people that look at the Kings and say, "Oh, they need better players," they're overlooking what, in my opinion, is a fact. And the fact is, the Kings are planning for Keegan Murray to be one of those better players this year.
Yeah, well, they got a right to. I think he's going to be that. I think he's on a track that's where he could be an all-star. Not saying he will be, but certainly the potential is there. And as we talked about some time before, is that, Peja Stojakovic's the best small forward in Kings history, and his rookie year wasn't nearly as good as Keegan's. And his second year wasn't as good as Keegan's rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he didn't play on teams any better either. So that's not knocking Peja, because I'm not saying Keegan will be better than Peja. I wouldn't say that, because he's got a lot to prove. But the early indicators are there's a real serious potential for stardom.
Yep, the great Jerry Reynolds is here. We're going to talk Kings and 49ers all afternoon long. In fact, when we come back, take a quick break. Who are the 49ers? What happened to that 5-0 team? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Right back with that. It's the Drive Guys with Jerry Reynolds today on Sactown Sports.
The 82-game NBA journey begins Wednesday for the Sacramento Kings.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
But G-Man Gary Gerald has all the play-by-play Wednesday of season number 39 in Sacramento.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker.
It's the Kings and Jazz in the season opener from Utah.
He's got the three-point shot.
Wednesday at 6 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
The pandemic is over, but COVID-19 is here to stay. In fact, it's still among the top 5 leading causes of death in the U.S., just after heart disease and cancer. So this fall, stay up to date with the latest COVID-19 vaccines, just like you do with the flu, because you've got no time for 19. The vaccine may not be for everyone. Please consult with your doctor. Brought to you by Moderna.
Lowe's knows pros want savings now. That's why, as an MVP's Pro Rewards member, you get volume savings on orders of $1,500 or more at the Pro Desk. And there's more. We've lowered our prices on select top products like electrical wire and drywall, so you can get the job necessities for less. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. In-store only. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
The great Jerry Reynolds joining us today to Drive Guys. Kyle Draper on his way to Salt Lake City. We may hear from Kyle at some point, and I'm not really looking forward to hearing that, but he's certainly entitled after telling us yesterday, 49ers are in trouble. 49ers are in trouble. I know I wouldn't listen. I want to clear up some confusion here on the YouTube chat. There's apparently some confusion over Nate Littlefield. Pike 916 telling people, hey, vote for Nate Littlefield. And then there's some confusion over whether Nate Littlefield used to play for the Kings. You know, Simone, he didn't used to play.
I can't verify that, actually.
He works here at the station. Yeah, and he'll be along at 6. Nate Littlefield and Emil will be bringing us the Return of the Empire podcast. And I'll have a lot to talk about as far as the 49ers go. And Jerry, before we get back to you, I want to go to the phones here. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. TC has been hanging on. TC, you're on with Whitey and Jerry. What's up? TCG, I'm sorry. TCG. Hello.
TCG.
Yes, hello.
Hey, Mr. Reynolds, it's an honor. Whitey, a pleasure. And I just had to call in today because yesterday I was giving Kyle Draper a hard time on the chat about his Eagles. And I am calling in live now to eat my crow sandwich with a nice side of humble pie. And the Niners just got beat yesterday, did not look very good. And I now have to say, as Kyle asked, that the Eagles, I have to acknowledge that the Eagles are the class of the NFC. So there it is. You can tell Kyle when he returns or if he calls in that he was right and I was wrong, and I apologize to him. And I'm hoping that the Kings tomorrow will brighten up my week and light the beam. So
thank you, TCG.
Have a great afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. It's like Kyle Shanahan said last night. Something like that happens, you got to wear it. But I don't think TCG had to go that far, Jer.
Well, he's obviously an honorable man, and they kind of went the extra mile. I probably would have just kind of blew it off, and figured that Kyle would forget, know. So got to respect that. Though.
Number of ways to play that. I did think the 49ers were going to have a fairly comfortable time last night with the Vikings. So many different ways you can slice it. I think the biggest problem for the 49ers right now, the defense just didn't deliver. They needed the defense when the offense was compromised. Need a little something extra from the defense. They didn't get enough from the defense.
No, they sure didn't. I mean, Cousins, I don't think got touched. He could have played in a T-shirt out there.
45 dropbacks and no sacks.
Yeah, when you don't get any pressure on the quarterback, and certainly as one as good as Cousins is, and boy, he had some comfortable throws, and that's without his top receiver.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I was one of those people that, with the pass rush they had and all that, I assumed they could really get after any team in the league. And last night they weren't there. To me, I agree. Whatever else happened, that was the main problem with the Niners.
Doesn't it seem like so long ago that the 49ers were 5-0 and just destroying everybody? And it was clear, like, okay, the 49ers, maybe the Eagles, maybe your Chiefs, class of the NFL. And right now you got to look at it and say, well, the 49ers, if they don't watch themselves, they're going to be in a dogfight with Seattle to win the division.
Yeah, I don't think so, but, I think they're too good for that. But you never know. I mean, they've got to kind of find out some things about themselves, which they probably have. And with the, sharp coach like they have, that's one thing about the league. I've always said in pro sports or any sports, scouting is a part of it. And the longer you go, teams, say, well, if we can do this against the Niners, maybe keep Bosa out of the game, that sort of thing, whatever we need to do. So the little bits and pieces make a difference.
Yeah, he's a kind of a non-factor. I don't know that he played badly, Bosa, but you'd figure at least he'd make things a little bit uncomfortable for Kirk Cousins. That did not happen last night.
No, that's his job is to, you can't really count on sacks, and that goes for, a lot of the defense. So, pressure on the receivers, they weren't, the whole thing. But of course, to me, in the NFL, it seems at least that the quarterback position, if they have all kinds of time to read the defenses, especially, the better ones that are veterans, they will. And that certainly looked like Cousins was on a nice little Sunday pickup game.
It sure did. You're kind of a Cousins guy, aren't you?
I like him. I watched the, I think it was HBO feature with the three quarterbacks, he and Mariota and Mahomes. And I thought he was, obviously a class gentleman, nice family, not all puffed up about himself and all. And then he takes a lot of criticism because he's not Mahomes or Joe Montana or somebody. At some point it's like, well, no, he's not an all-time great, but he's he's darn good. I don't know if there's 5 guys in the league better.
Yeah, that's just you hate to lose to that guy with his less than impressive record on Monday nights, and the 49ers, come in figuring they're going to bounce back after that Cleveland debacle, and instead that was I don't know. I want to say it was a disastrous loss. That's probably an overreaction, frankly, but that's a bad loss right there. 2 in a row all of a sudden.
Bad loss, yeah. 2 in a row. You expect them to, the fact they did get beat by Cleveland, I think all of us expected them to come back with a strong game, win in particular. But, it's there's plenty of time. I really believe that no team will start the playoffs with less than 3 losses. So
yeah,
I just think there's so much parity, and if you're not football's such a motivated game, so just those nights when you can't quite get them ready or they get full of themselves or whatever, you can get beat.
Yeah, it's just so hard from the 49ers standpoint, especially from the standpoint of the fans, because last couple of years they had periods during the middle of the year, middle of the year, where they really struggled. So then they ended up having to play the playoffs on the road and ended up losing. This year, off to the great start. Inside track on home field, right? Everything looked great. And now all of a sudden, you're looking up at the Eagles, so maybe they'll be back in that same situation down the road. It's a long ways to go. You've got injuries again. It looks like they squandered a lot of the benefits of that great start. That's football. You're right. What are you going to do about it? But it's frustrating because both of the last 2 losses, as we know, they could have won both of those games.
Oh, yeah. I think most people, including the teams that beat them, would say the Niners are the better team, but they weren't. They weren't that night. And, of course, the Cleveland game, when you get to easy field goal position and don't win, that sticks a little harder even than last night, I think, because I really thought, right or wrong, I thought the Vikings deserved to win the ball game. They outplayed the Niners.
Yeah. And then, the missed field goal also. Had Moody made the first field goal, then that last possession, you would have only needed a field goal. Instead, they needed a touchdown. And Brock Purdy, Jerry, just yesterday, Kyle Draper was saying, well, if Brock Purdy throws a couple interceptions, and I interrupted him, I said, Brock Purdy doesn't do that. And he did it twice last night.
Yeah, he did.
What's going on?
Well, he is not Tom Brady yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. And I, of course, I'm a Purdy fan. I think the guy's really good, and people spend too much time talking about who he isn't. As it's like there again, is he one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now? Probably not. But who can you?
He's headed in that direction.
He's headed in that direction, and I don't know what. They're very fortunate they drafted him. Of course, I've said so many times, so many of the great quarterbacks were overlooked guys. Montana was the 3rd round pick, and Brady a 6th round pick. And
wasn't Johnny Unitas like some scrub playing semi-pro ball somewhere?
Yeah, he and Kurt Warner are both undrafted.
Yeah,
undrafted.
Huh?
2 Hall of Famers. So that tells you a little.
Yeah.
It's like
Purdy was this close to being undrafted.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I've always said the quarterback experts prove year in, year out that they're not.
Yeah. Well, you've actually drafted people, so it's just basically a guess, right?
You're always guessing. To me, some level, how much better are they going to get? And how is their game and mind going to translate to the NBA or the NFL? And you can't know that.
Nobody knows it, right? They don't even know.
They don't know. Some young guys, the Austin Reeves for the Lakers. Now, who saw that coming? Undrafted to, a near all-star level player.
Do you think the Kings have improved in terms of being a good environment for someone to come in? You draft a guy. What's he going to be? We don't know. But it used to be you bring him into the Kings situations like, it wasn't a great environment. Have the Kings improved as far as player development goes?
Oh, I think so. I think obviously they got a good staff, but so much of it goes, to me, back to your top players. The stars on your team, are they amenable to working with young people, patience with young people, with rookies? And I think I don't know that I've ever seen the Kings in better shape in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's good anyway, but it doesn't help 49er fans today. Brock Purdy, the thing about him last night, when he had time. And Minnesota was playing softer coverages towards the end of the game, so he had time. They weren't blitzing as much. And with Brock Purdy, when he sees where he's going and throws confidently, I just have developed so much faith that, this is going to be good. And then when he threw that last interception, it was almost like, wait, what? Because he saw the throw, he stepped right into it, right? And I was expecting, here we go. I was like, wait, what? I mean, he had established such a high level of play that it was stunning to see him struggle a little bit. I guess we shouldn't be surprised, but I was surprised.
Yeah, I was too, because like you say, he's been so accurate and just, maybe it's a little off for the guy, that's it. That ball was like, whoa, so
I was like Jimmy Garoppolo.
or Zach Nelson, or you can go on, but he threw one of those balls that he's not supposed to, or you hadn't seen him do it. But I just, be one of those people say, let's just count an outlier and let it go.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything to this? Kyle Shanahan, the day after a game, always does a conference call with reporters. Didn't do one today. Now there are, they had to travel and everything, so maybe some of it is that. But I know Emil was talking about this. It's a tradition. It's done at day after game, conference call with reporters. Didn't do one today. Do you think maybe Kyle's a little extra chafed, and that's why he doesn't want to talk to reporters today?
It could be, and I hope not, because you got to take it both ways. Step up the plate and hear what guys have got to say and respond to whether you want to do it like Bill Belichick or Greg Popovich. That's on you. But I'm always disappointed that. I mean, if you're gonna take the good, then be willing to take the bad.
You never had a problem with the media, did you?
No, not really. Well, I certainly didn't agree with some of them, but I didn't have any problem with people having different opinions or thinking I'm a pinhead or something.
You didn't have a problem with that?
No, because there's some verification. There's some thought that would be true. I've been called worse at home, so why would I?
Well, we will take a quick timeout. Jerry Reynolds in for Kyle Draper today. We'll continue the Brock Purdy conversation. There's a Hall of Famer who's kind of not just Kyle Draper, but this Hall of Famer also is crowing a little bit about his Brock Purdy takes. And we'll hear from Brock Purdy himself as the Drive Guys roll on next year on Sactown Sports.
Will Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers brass go all the way this season? Could the Niners win their first Super Bowl since 1995? Join us throughout the season to hear all the games and all the analysis on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Ready for a sizzling football season? Take your game day parties to the next level with Napoleon Prestige Grills from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Fire up the grill and score big with mouthwatering burgers, juicy steaks, and finger-licking wings. Napoleon Prestige Grills bring the heat and come complete with a lifetime warranty. Get your ultimate game day companion today. Visit your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply and elevate your tailgate experience with Napoleon Prestige Grills. Green Acres Nursery and Supply, your one-stop shop for grilling greatness this football season. Visit idategreenacres.com for the store near you. Game on! Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports. Cooler temperatures mean it's time to reduce your outdoor water use. Water 1 day per week on Saturday or Sunday from November 1st through February 29th. Learn more about your home's watering schedule at sacwaterwise.com.
When every shot counts, the professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio encourage you to try the brand new Titleist T-Series irons. Irons designed to enhance your play through control, distance, flight, forgiveness, looks, sound, and feel. With 4 T-Series models, the fitting team at Hagen Oaks will find the perfect Titleist T-Series iron for you. Call 916-808-2531 to find your fit today. Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway, or online at hagenoaks.com.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton and Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton and Price in your corner. When you call Ashton and Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real live person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Hey, it's Carmichael Day for my good friends at Fire Wings with some bullet points for you to remember so you can be a professional fire wing eater. Like Wings Day Wednesday, 88-cent wings each and every Wednesday. 3 flavor lineup includes 7 classic wing flavors, 7 dry rub wing flavors, 7 fusion wing flavors. It's the perfect fast casual eating establishment for the entire family. Go to firewings.com or download the app, find a location near you, order online, earn rewards. Fire Wings, just wing it.
Sactown Sports
Headlines. Happy Tuesday, I'm Simone, and these are your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers dropped their second consecutive game last night with a 22-17 loss to the Minnesota Vikings.
Purdy steps up, gets to his right, throws middle. It is intercepted by Bynum. The 49ers lose again.
With the Bengals crouched on the horizon and a short week ahead, the faithful have to find a way to enter their bye week at 6-2 rather than 5-3. For more on the state of the Niners, tap into the Return of the Empire show immediately following the Drive Guys tonight, right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023-24 NBA season is finally here, and ahead of tip-off Tuesday night, Whitey and Jerry will be unveiling their expert predictions and previewing the Kings season opener tomorrow over in Utah. And finally, Rangers punched their ticket to the World Series with an 11-4 victory over the Astros last night.
Hello, World Series. The Rangers have won their 3rd American League pennant.
And the fate of the NLCS rests on Game 7 tonight between the Diamondbacks and Phillies, beginning at 5:07. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to some more Drive Guys.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
Your boy Drape's on his way to Salt Lake City. He'll be with us tomorrow. We'll be doing the show tomorrow while he's in Salt Lake City, and then he'll have the call, the play-by-play on TV for the Kings and the Utah Jazz. So Jerry Reynolds, nice enough to join us today, and people are going crazy over you, Jerry. People want to hear about your nicknames. They want to know if you like the chat. And we got people just as they're watching here on YouTube, they're just commenting here, and someone wanted to know, hey, Jerry, you like the chat? So
well, considering I can't really see it from here, it's working pretty well.
Yeah, Jerry doesn't really have a good look at the chat, but I'll try to pass along everything appropriate. Epic Airbees says, Jerry famous for coming up with nicknames or go-to phrases for players. He do, or he do. Yeah, sorry. So what are some current nicknames, Jerry? Epic Airbees wants to know.
Well, I mean, I like ones not necessarily the fans like, but ones I like for Sabonis, Zagatron.
Zagatron, I know you shared some of these with
for the Gonzaga Zags.
Chris Watkins and I.
Yes. And for Herder, which I'd never have liked the Red Velvet because that way he's been playing lately anyway. But I like the Red Menace. To me, that's better. And then Davion, instead of Davion, it's Devion.
Ooh, and you had another one for him, right?
What
did you have? Straight Jacket?
Oh, what? Can't even remember.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
You said off night. That's what you told Chris.
Instead of off night.
Yeah. Devion though, that really worked.
Yeah. So anyway, that's some of them, and feel free to criticize and.
No, that's Jerry's
classic.
I will say when Chris and I were talking media day to Malik Monk, I did not share with him.
No. I was going to say, I just had, and it's one of those things I'm actually ashamed of myself to say, because I'd come up with, you got to almost think a Chip Monk.
Sure.
But I know that he'd hate it. And in days when I was doing it, I would never use a nickname the players didn't like.
Right. You never know. I mean, he's
got a good spirit about him. I'm
it's just the interview was going well, and I thought I could mention that now, but I think it's better.
No, he might have dropped you with the right hand, So anyway, that one. Then the one I like the best is like in the fourth quarter. It's kind of Fox time, so Foxcom 5.
Foxcom. I see. Okay.
Instead of DEFCON 5.
Right.
When we're all about to get destroyed, it's Foxcom 5, baby.
I like it. Accurate.
Yeah. And you had one for Keegan, too. Wonder Boy or Mr. Wonderful or Chris has these written down. I'll have to check with Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I like.
You come up with so many.
I
you
like.
can't keep track of them.
I like Threegan.
Yes.
I like Threegan a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that one too. Do you have any nicknames for Brock Purdy today? Probably not.
Well, I always said back in French Lick, Brock Purdy would say he's pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah. Brock Purdy was pretty good last night until he was bad. It gets lost in the fact that he had those 2 bad interceptions, as it should, because those are obviously very significant. But he was having a really good game, and he was keeping the 49ers in the game, kind of going toe-to-toe with your boy Cousins.
Yeah, he was. He was a bright spot till he wasn't.
Yes, yes.
So, I don't think there's any reason to totally give up on the guy. I mean, he's been too good for quite a few games.
Mm-hmm. He was 21 for 30 for 272, 1 touch, and then the 2 interceptions. And after the game, Brock Purdy talked about the game-sealing interception that he threw.
Yeah, it was just a bad ball. JJ did a good job on his route, and D-line got a good push on us, and I sort of just was trying to anticipate the throw. At the end of the day, it was a bad ball, and obviously I threw it too far ahead of him. So,
yeah, and that was actually the Juwan Jennings interception. One of the 2 interceptions, both of them were just, wait, what? Brock Purdy doesn't do that. Brock Purdy also addressed the fact that the 49ers now have lost back-to-back games.
2 in a row. It's the NFL. Every team is good. It doesn't matter who you're going against, what the record is, or anything like that. We didn't come into the week taking this team lightly. We knew it was going to be a hostile environment. It was going to be a great challenge. Our defense was really good. Kirk Cousins is really good. So it's like, for us, we came in with the right mindset. We just got to execute better. But for me, and the second one in a row hurts, obviously, but we just got to be better and got a big one ahead this week too. So,
Jerry, he obviously said all the right things there, but let's face it, to this point, the Vikings haven't been really good. They looked like it last night, but they haven't been that good.
No, they haven't. Now, it's also true they were a really good team last year, and they probably overachieved last year, and they've been underachieving this year. So
things even out a little bit.
Yeah, it always does. And I never expect them to go all season with 3 or 4 wins.
It's like you said a couple minutes ago, in the NFL this year, the margin between victory and defeat, it's probably slimmer than it's ever been. And so many of these games are basically decided by a fumble here, a batted pass there. So when you lose a turnover battle, you're basically giving the game to the other team.
Yeah, turnovers. I mean, and as you pointed out, I mean, it's so often. How many games come down to the last second for a field goal? I mean, in NFL, it's amazing to me. The game's going along and it'll come down to somebody trying to get in the range for a field goal to win.
Now, you say, Jared, and I agree with you, it's too early to just give up on Brock Purdy. But Shannon Sharp, now of ESPN, Shannon Sharp said he's not giving up on Brock Purdy. He said today on ESPN that, I told you Brock Purdy just was never that good.
Lost confidence. I knew what he was to begin with. I noticed when we had this conversation about 3 weeks ago, Stephen A., I was trending because I said Brock Purdy wasn't elite. Now, all of a sudden, I ain't getting nothing. Nobody was on my timeline. Shannon doesn't know what he's talking about. Shannon's a hater. He's jealous. I didn't get any of that last night. Remember, I said if you remove that hedge, it's amazing. The Minnesota Vikings and Brian Flores says, you know what? We're taking Christian McCaffrey away. We refuse to let him run the football. We want the ball in that elite quarterback's hand, Brock Purdy. And what happened? 2 interceptions. They had 3 interceptions. They had 3 turnovers coming into the game. They had 3 turnovers in their first 6 games.
Okay.
They had 3 last night. And when the defense can't be perfect, Kirk Cousins was 8 of 13 on 3rd downs. When he couldn't be perfect, when everything around him couldn't be perfect, and they asked Brock Purdy to deliver us, he didn't. He didn't do it. He is what he is, because I look at it like this. If Brock Purdy is elite, we need another definition for Patrick Mahomes, because he's ungodly. He's astronomical. He's out of the world. Brock Purdy is what he is. When things are really, really well, he can operate within that system Saturday. But when you ask him to go outside and to be extraordinary, Christian McCaffrey can't run the football. You're down Debo. And then you saw what happened. He is what he is. And I didn't lose confidence because I know what he was to begin with.
I like Shannon Sharp. Couple things there that he's just wrong about. First of all, he said they had 3 turnovers. Well, one of them was when McCaffrey fumbled. Brock Purdy didn't have anything to do with that, right? He also said oh, the defense, they need the defense to be perfect. The defense was bad last night, and they still almost won the game, right? And then Brock Purdy, other than the 2 bad throws, which were bad throws, he was having a really good game. So I think it's a little bit of an overreaction on Shannon Sharp's part. He's right, though. I mean, we do probably need, no matter what you think of Brock Purdy, we probably do need some new ways to describe Patrick Mahomes because he's just that good, period.
Well, yeah, well, he's proven it.
Yeah.
And to in Brock Purdy's case, is like, I would agree with Shannon's. Is he an elite quarterback? We don't know yet. But we also don't know that he can't be. He's been awfully good. And
yes.
He had a bad throw or two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but I mean, just always have to keep in mind, the messenger. And I mean, and really Shannon and Stephen A. Smith on that show, they're basically going to say things maybe just to get
right.
viewers.
You go that way and I'll go that way.
Yeah. And I'll say something that really is outrageous and then you top it, type mentality, which is why I choose not to watch that.
I see. Yeah. I got to tell you my favorite Shannon Sharp story. I was doing a show once with Rod Woodson. The great Rod Woodson was filling in. Actually, he was filling in for Kreidler. So we had Rod Woodson, and we were talking about the great Ravens team that he was on. And he calls up during the show. Rod Woodson calls up Shannon Sharp, and Shannon Sharp comes on the show. And Shannon Sharp tells a story. He says, what we would do is we would go to the defense. We would go to Ray Lewis, and we would go to Rod, and we say, how many points do you need this week? And they might say, we need 10. And we would say, okay, because that's when they had Trent Dilfer as a quarterback. Shannon Sharp says, so we'd say, okay, we'll get you 10 because that defense was so good. And he says, and Rod Woodson's like, yeah, they actually used to do that. That's how good that defense was. But that was, I always remember that story from Shannon Sharp.
Well,
and that's how good that defense was.
Yeah, and that's to your point too. It's like, well, yeah, Trent Dilfer won a world championship.
That's right.
So did Brad Johnson. So did Nick Foles. I mean,
Brock Purdy's better than those guys. I think he's going to be better.
Dan Marino didn't.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously he's great.
What would you think of the fact that I'm just laying myself out there to you, Jar? A few weeks ago, I suggested that Brock Purdy reminds me of Joe Montana. I just said, same team, uniform. What do you think of that?
Woo!
I just said he reminds me of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, he's got like 2 arms and everything. So I'll wait on that. I mean, now Joe Montana, he's one of those guys that nobody thought Joe Montana was going to be Joe Montana.
Yeah.
So that's why you just can't do that. And I think it's like always somebody comparing somebody to Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady till he, because nobody thought if that had been the case, he'd have been the first pick in the draft.
Right.
So,
yeah, I get it. Joe Montana won 4, and here, Brock Purdy's never even been near 1 yet, so it's a little premature. I'm just saying. And Jesse Sapolu, former Joe Montana's former center, said the same thing. So last night, though, didn't look so much like Joe Montana. Coming up next, which way should LeBron go with his new quarterback-style NBA series? You were talking about the quarterback show.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is putting together an NBA-style one. So which way should he go with that? We'll kick that around. Jerry Reynolds in for Drapes today. So Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Are you a business owner in need of financing? Then you need Swish Funding, the better way to get the funding you need. Our simple application process takes just minutes, with funding as soon as one business day. At Swish Funding, we focus on your business cash flow, not your personal credit score. And we're ready to help with funding from $5,000 to $5 million. If you've been in business for 1 year and have monthly revenue of at least $25,000, you could get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. At swishfunding.com. That's SWISH funding.com.
The pandemic is over, but COVID-19 is here to stay. In fact, it's still among the top 5 leading causes of death in the U.S., just after heart disease and cancer. So this fall, stay up to date with the latest COVID-19 vaccines, just like you do with the flu, because you've got no time for 19. The vaccine may not be for everyone. Please consult with your doctor. Brought to you by Moderna.
Lowe's knows pros want savings now. That's why, as an MVP's Pro Rewards member, you get volume savings on orders of $1,500 or more at the Pro Desk. And there's more. We've lowered our prices on select top products like electrical wire and drywall, so you can get the job necessities for less. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. In-store only. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
The 49ers Report, brought to you by EB Stone. EB Stone, for the life of your garden. Another heartbreaking loss on the road for the 49ers, dropping their second game of the season to Minnesota, 22-17. Quarterback Kirk Cousins torched the 49ers defense for 378 passing yards, a season high allowed by the red and gold. The 49ers had a chance to win the game late, but 2 costly fourth-quarter interceptions by Brock Purdy doomed the team to the loss. The red and gold will look to bounce back in Week 8, hosting Cincinnati at Levi Stadium.
With over 100 years as a family-owned company, EB Stone's learned a few things about making plants grow. Start a healthy family hobby with indoor planting with EB Stone's Edna's Best indoor and outdoor potting soil to help your little plants grow into the perfect indoor plant for the kids and family to enjoy. EB Stone's indoor and outdoor potting soil is perfectly blended with all the important ingredients you need to create that perfect indoor and outdoor plant or garden. EB Stone, for the life of your garden. Visit ebstone.org for more gardening tips, products, and...
Igor, my faithful companion, it is time to prepare for the night. The shadows grow long, and the creatures of the night stir with excitement.
Yes, Master Dracula. What do you require of me?
I need you to fire up the hearse. Elk Grove Kia is having a Halloween sale that is to die for. We're going to upgrade you a new car worthy of the Prince of Darkness. I'm so excited. It is making my blood shiver.
But Master, with your credit history, aren't you worried you're going to get turned down?
Igor, shut up. Elk Grove Kia's finance department has over 100 years of experience. They can even get me approved, even with my troubled past. And Elk Grove Kia's exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on all new Kias, it's almost like having an immortal car.
Elk Grove Kia's Halloween sale is so good, it's scaring the competition. In fact, it's so scary, we can't even advertise the pricing. So whether you're in need of a new or used car, make your way to Elk Grove Kia in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, or visit us at elkgrovekia.com.
Guys, Revive Men's Health Sacramento is making you this guarantee. We will improve the medical condition of your ED or low T, or we'll give you your money back. Book your free appointment today. Call 916-277-8599 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The pandemic is over, but COVID-19 is here to stay. In fact, it's still among the top 5 leading causes of death in the U.S., just after heart disease and cancer. So this fall, stay up to date with the latest COVID-19 vaccines, just like you do with the flu, because you've got no time for 19. The vaccine may not be for everyone. Please consult with your doctor. Brought to you by Moderna.
Lowe's knows pros want savings now. That's why, as an MVP's Pro Rewards member, you get volume savings on orders of $1,500 or more at the Pro Desk. And there's more. We've lowered our prices on select top products like electrical wire and drywall, so you can get the job necessities for less. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. In-store only. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Buddy Gleason and Jerry Reynolds today. Kyle Draper is on his way to Salt Lake City. He'll be back with us tomorrow. Speaking of the text line, Jer, My phone, for what it's worth, little peek behind the scenes, got a text exchange going here between my sister-in-law, who's a big Giants fan, and my daughter, who's a big Padres fan, and they're going back and forth about the Giants' new manager. Bob Melvin is the new skipper of the Giants. That kind of came out of nowhere today. We got to turn. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
We're good.
We're good. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, seems like a good move to me.
I think it is.
I think he's a real proven pro that's had success when he had talent.
Yes. Yeah. I was downstairs before I came up here, obviously. Somebody downstairs, one of the salespeople was asking me, Ken Gross, like, I think Melvin needs this guy on the coaching staff and that guy on the coaching staff. I said, he needs better players. And he said, he does need that.
Yeah, a couple better pitchers will be a lot more valuable than a whole bunch of coaches.
Yeah, I think bottom line, Bob Melvin in San Diego really was at odds with the general manager there. Some people said that is their relationship is not salvageable. The Padres said, we're going to keep them both. And then they were just hoping the Giants would come along and poach Melvin, because that way, A, the Padres can let him go without saying they fired him, and then B, they save some money because they're looking to save money. And also C, the Padres may actually ask for some compensation from the Giants, but if they ask for any, it doesn't appear to be much. But that's happened before, where coaches, managers have been traded. It's weird, but it does happen.
Yeah, it does happen. Yeah, and like you say, it's pretty weird. I always get a kick out when, as you pointed out, they're kind of doing it to save money. And I'm thinking, this is the same franchise that's throwing around $200 million contracts.
Yeah, that's it. The bills have come due. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. So now, let's get rid of a couple of receptionists too and save, $40,000, $50,000, but let's, pay a mediocre outfielder $50 million.
Yeah. Some people say managers don't make that much of a difference in baseball. I don't know, but I think Bruce Bochy did a pretty good job this year, huh?
Yeah, I think they do. I think because so much of it is knowing who to pitch, when to pitch, that sort of thing. And, it's like there's some guys better at it than others. The Tony La Russas, pretty much you can follow some of those people over the years. I always say, like with basketball coaches too in college, their success will follow them.
Yep. And a lot of it now, apparently, a lot more than maybe most of us would even believe, it's driven by the analytics in terms of who's pitching, how many innings they're going to pitch. I know Joe Madden, when he got out of baseball, he said they'll come into the dugout and start telling you, who's got to pitch when, the analytics guys. But I think, even if that's true, I think there's something to be said for a manager who's in there with the team in the clubhouse and the dugout. Things aren't going well. Things are going well. Somebody who knows how to manage the vibe of the team. I think that's really important, especially over 162 freaking games.
Oh, I do too. I think the instincts, you take these guys have been in the business a long time, the La Russas, when they was doing, they've seen it all and done it, and they know what works, doesn't. It doesn't always, but they have a feel for the game's what I call it, much like in basketball or any sport. But I think in baseball, whether, you can't let him throw 100 pitches. Well, maybe feel he's going good. We can go 120.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is he going to drop dead on 118? The stuff that I don't care. Analytics people, there's stuff they don't know. They're just going on kind of medium and average.
It's math problems.
Yeah.
It's basically it's what it is. Saw something you don't see a lot yesterday. We were watching here, Kyle and I doing the show, and we had the Phillies in Arizona on, and Arizona's pitcher, Merrill Kelly, was pitching really well through 5 innings, pitching great. And then they took him out because the analytics say to take him out. He was not happy. And, you see a lot of guys now like, okay, good. Hey, high five. Yeah, I pitched my 5 innings. And I just thought I understand that. That's great. But this guy was really upset they were taking him out of the game. Now, they won the game. It worked out. But I just thought, well, there's something admirable about that that's kind of lost now. He wanted to pitch more innings.
Yeah, he felt like he could. He was going good. And here again, like say analytics says, well, he can't pitch another pitch or two. But I always say that analytics sometimes it's like the old saying where a guy I was reading about said died in or drowned in a river that was 2 foot deep. Average of 2 foot deep. Well, yeah, but he drowned where it was 10 foot deep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, his average was 2 foot, but he wasn't laying there on the ground. And but on analytics would say, well, yeah, that's the river is 2 foot deep. Well, not where it counts.
Did they have analytics in basketball when you were coaching? I know they're really prominent now.
No, not very much. Very, very little. And it really was. Of course, you didn't have all the scouting and all the, with the internet, and everybody's got a iPad or something, that sort of thing, where you could do it. So you really did. It was really more of a feel of the game type of thing. And I'm sure that goes with all sports. And to your point, I think baseball probably uses it the most, and they might ought to use it the least.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I just think that's such a different kind of game, and so much does depend on pitching.
And the feel.
The feel of, okay, this guy, and maybe communication with the pitcher and the manager, which probably is strained on a lot of teams. But yeah, I'm feeling good, Skip. I really can go another inning.
I'll tell you this, the Giants, when they won the 3 World Series and Boch was managing them, only one of those were they really expected to maybe be good enough to even get to the World Series. In some ways, all 3 were surprises. And the fact that Bruce Bochy, the way he managed his bullpen, that was an absolute key to them winning 3 World Series. And that wasn't analytics. That was him knowing the matchups and knowing if it was analytics, it was all done in his brain by him. And he was very effective at that. Better than any computer could have been.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, the best managers basically have a lot of the most important information in the brain. They don't have periphery stuff and at some point you got to make a decision. You can't be paralyzed by analysis. You got to make a decision.
Yeah. And when it doesn't work, like we saw with the Giants this year, if you're a fan, it's just hard to relate to. It's like, wow, the pinch hitter struck out. Why? And the manager says, well, in that situation is a better matchup. And it just seems so impersonal.
Well, too, you hear it all the time in football. Well, it's 4th and 2 on the 40 or whatever. And they say, well, analytics say you should do that. Well, if you're the coach, you're thinking, we haven't been able to run on these guys now. And so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, congratulations to the Giants. Bob Melvin is announced. He's a really cool guy and he's a great manager. When we come back, as promised, we'll get to look at LeBron's new idea for a basketball show. It's based on the quarterback show, and Jerry's got some ideas on how they can do that basketball-wise. Also, speaking of coaches, why does it seem the 49ers keep getting out-coached? That more when we come back here. It's The Drive, guys, with Jerry Reynolds in today on Sactown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
Every triple, every jam, every Kings win.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker. He's got the three-point shot.
Get your Kings fix all season long.
Right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles, drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. It makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Knee, hip, foot,
leg, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
The 82-game NBA journey begins Wednesday for the Sacramento Kings.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
The G-Man Gary Gerald has all the play-by-play Wednesday of season number 39 in Sacramento.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker.
It's the Kings and Jazz in the season opener from Utah.
He's got the three-point shot.
Wednesday at 6 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Tuesday, I'm Simone, and these are your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers dropped their second consecutive game last night with a 22-17 loss to the Minnesota Vikings.
Purdy steps up, gets to his right, throws middle. It is intercepted by Bynum. The 49ers lose again.
With the Bengals crouched on the horizon and a short week ahead, the faithful have to find a way to enter their bye week at 6-2. Rather than 5-3. For more on the state of the Niners, tap into the return of the Empire Show immediately following the Drive Guys tonight, right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023-24 NBA season is finally here, and ahead of tip-off Tuesday night, Whitey and Jerry will be unveiling their expert predictions and previewing the Kings season opener tomorrow over in Utah. And finally, Rangers punched their ticket to the World Series with an 11-4 victory over the Astros last night.
Hello, World Series! The Rangers have won their third American League pennant.
And the fate of the NLCS rests on Game 7 tonight between the Diamondbacks and Phillies, beginning at 5:07. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Welcome back in to more Drive Guys.
Through Friday, Sactown Sports.
No Kyle Draper today. We've got Jerry Reynolds in for Kyle. Thank you again, Jerry, for coming in, celebrating the start of the NBA season and trying to figure out what the heck happened to the 49ers. It seems to me, Jerry, that the last two games now, the 49ers have been out-coached 2 games in a row, and it's really rare to ever say that. And I think we can say that 2 games in a row.
Well, some people could say that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't agree with that?
I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you.
You're being a gentleman, aren't you?
I am being a gentleman, but I do think let's the guy's kind of proven to be a really good coach. Did he make some mistakes? Sure.
I think a lot of people have an issue with the defensive coordinator, and a lot of people are wondering if maybe Kyle Shanahan is one of the people having issues with the defensive coordinator. Do we have some Kyle Shanahan? Yeah, here's Kyle Shanahan explaining what went wrong last night for the 49ers.
I think assignment was blown on the touchdown, called an all-out blitz, and he's got to get rid of it right away, and he threw it up and got a chance for a pick, didn't come through with it, and they got a touchdown. It's a real bad play by us.
Real bad play by us. And then he was asked if that's something they're going to discuss. He says, yeah, we'll discuss that. Didn't really care for the result. You see, it's 2 weeks in a row now where Kyle Shanahan publicly, has been talking about, kind of questioning his defensive coordinator and some of the moves. And the play he's talking about there, Jer, was the play at the end of the first half. The 49ers are down 10-7. There's 16 seconds to go. Vikings have the ball in their own territory. They don't have a timeout. So basically, you play out the clock. They can't do anything. Even if they complete a pass downfield, there's not time for them to kick a field goal. And Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, called an all-out zero blitz. Zero is in who's back and safety. Nobody. Zero. So Ward tries to intercept the ball. He can't do it. Looked like he had the angle. And then there's no one else back there, and the Vikings get a touchdown with 16 seconds left. And it's rare to see a play in a football game where anybody, someone who actually is coached in the NFL all the way to someone who never has even watched many games, can look at a call and go, well, that's a bad call. And they'd all be right. It was a terrible decision, and it doesn't make any sense.
No, it really doesn't. And just listen to the broadcast. I mean, obviously that was pointed out ahead of time almost. It's like, well, no timeouts.
There's no benefit to taking that kind of gamble.
Yeah, just keep in front of you a little bit, and then the half's over, that type thing. But yeah, certainly it did appear. He threw his defensive coordinator under the bus a little bit, maybe not completely, even though there's no reason not to there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's I always say that's one of the most important things I think in football is they have so many coaches and they delegate so much responsibility to the coordinators and special all that. It's like, well, you better hire the right guys.
Yeah.
If you're going to give them all that authority.
Yeah, it's a tough one for a head coach. I remember years ago after a 49er loss, and the defense had made a mistake. And I remember Bill Walsh standing up there in front of the media saying, I'm the head coach, it's on me. And you could tell he was really trying to say, it's not me, it's the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And so Kyle Shanahan is in that same situation right now. But again, I was watching the 49er post game last night, and Dante Whitner says, look, when you're a coordinator and you call a coverage, you're trying to achieve something. And he says, in that situation, to run a zero blitz, there's just nothing you can accomplish. There's no reason to take that gamble. You have nothing to, even if he intercepts it, which he almost did, so what? You keep them in front of you and you go into halftime down 10-7. So that is a real head scratcher. And that's one of those real troubling plays when you lose a game like that you should win, and the defensive coordinator plays a coverage that everyone knows, well, that was dumb. It's frustrating.
Yeah, during the course of the game, there'll always be some plays that you could second guess or question. But really, that was one of those
where even the head coach is kind of questioning.
Yeah, I mean, you have to say, wow, you can't spin it to where that was a good.
Yeah.
How you got to that level of thinking.
Yeah. So the only thing I can think of is the defensive coordinator must have been thinking, look, we're going to blitz here. We're going to catch him. We're going to force a fumble, and maybe we'll kick a field goal. We're going to make a big play here, which obviously the other side of that was, well, maybe you will, but probably you're more likely to give up a touchdown. I don't know. The bottom line is the 49er defense let them down last night, and the defensive unit right now, whether it's the coordinator or not, the defense is really not living up to its end of the bargain here with the 49ers, and that's why they've lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, you look at the last couple of games, they haven't been as good as they're supposed to be, and especially last night's game. And we talked about earlier, you've got to put pressure on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always say it's like basketball. If you don't put pressure on the point guard, don't be surprised when they start picking you apart.
Yeah, and the center's going to get the ball wherever he wants. Yeah, it's very similar, putting pressure on the basketball to the pass rush. That's another thing Kyle Shanahan said last night publicly, and again, choosing his words carefully. But if you listen closely, you know what he's saying when he says, we have to make the quarterback uncomfortable, and he didn't look uncomfortable to me last night. 45 dropbacks and no sacks.
Oh, he was comfortable. I mean, like I said, he could have played the game without pads.
Yeah.
Just in his T-shirt out there.
Shorts.
Yeah, shorts.
Slippers.
Maybe he had to have shoes. But other than that, I mean, my goodness, he just had all kinds of time in the pocket. And of course, he's he can really throw the ball and smart, and you give a guy like that time and like I say, the other thing, he didn't have his top receiver.
I know.
And
people look at the 49ers. They had injuries, and they did, but so did the freaking Vikings.
Yeah, they had a more key one, really.
Yeah.
For them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Kyle Shanahan pointed out that they didn't get the pass rush, and here's the thing: the 49ers are allocating a great deal of their payroll to that defensive front. Nick Bosa alone, as you know, is getting a massive amount of money, and he has earned it. But this year, they're not getting the pressure, and that's one reason why Steve Wilks, the coordinator, has been blitzing more, which the 49ers don't like to do. And, it's a gamble. And so right now, they've all of a sudden, 5-2, as you said, Jared, long ways to go. 5-2 is not bad, but they've got some real issues for a team that, has Super Bowl aspirations.
Oh, absolutely. And they should have those aspirations. So they have that level of talent. But, I think it goes back to here again, the pass rush, but you'd like to think you could put pressure on the quarterback without blitzing.
Yeah. Maybe once or twice. 45 dropbacks.
Yeah. And that you got those kind of guys supposedly under contract that at least put some pressure where you don't have to blitz and open yourself up for against especially smart quarterbacks will pick that out most of the time.
And part of the problem is, and you know more about this than we do because you've had to handle, like salary caps and things. In the NFL, the cap is tricky. So if you're spending all that money on your defensive linemen, they've got to do their job because that means you're not spending as much money on the guys in the secondary. And so you need the pressure on the quarterback so those guys on the back line are not exposed.
Yeah, it really is different in the NFL because it's a hard cap basically.
Yeah.
And so you really have to make the right decision, not that you don't in the NBA, but there's so many exceptions and whatever, you can go over the cap and all that. So it's a lot easier to eat your mistakes in the NBA as opposed to NFL. You make a mistake on a huge contract, you got it.
Yeah. Well, we'll circle back to that and something to keep an eye on, given that no matter what you think of the way they're playing, what you think of the coaching job that's been done, it's pretty clear Kyle Shanahan is not happy with his coordinator. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. But speaking of Kirk Cousins, he was part of that, and you talked about it earlier, Jerry, the Netflix show called Quarterbacks. It was Mahomes and Cousins and
Mariota.
And you love that show.
I love that show. That was really interesting. Showed all three guys in different circumstances. I thought it was terrific. They did a show similar to that in golf earlier, which was great as well. So, I've always thought, probably if they were to do something like that in basketball,
LeBron is working on something apparently.
Yeah.
So if he goes to you, Jerry, what do I do? How do we handle this?
I'd say, LeBron, we don't need you. We know who you are. But I would. I like the idea of the kind of the superstar, the star, the guy that maybe's not kind of for different reasons, and so not made it big. So I would, somebody like Steph Curry. I'd be very interested in an established superstar, and then
he'd be like the Mahomes.
Yeah, he'd be like the Mahomes, and then the Cousins guy might be. I'm just trying to think somebody that's, been a near star. Adebayo of Miami. He's a star, but not a huge star, and you don't know quite why or when. And then maybe the player that was supposed to be great that hadn't quite clicked, and I don't know, it might be.
I have a nominee for that.
Okay,
James Wiseman.
Yeah, Wiseman and Bagley.
Bagley.
Both those are both would be kind of names there. Or I was thinking, any high draft pick that just hasn't quite made it, and there's a bunch of them.
Right.
There's a bunch of them out there. So,
yeah.
But I think that's, I think fans would be, but they'd, you'd have to know who they are. And that's why a Bagley or a Wiseman, since they were so highly thought of it, and they clearly haven't made it.
I would also like to see, if they were going to do that documentary NBA on these players, I would like to see three different guys. This isn't like the quarterback's version of it, but three superstars adjusting to new teams, like Dame with Milwaukee. And, frankly, these guys would probably say, I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. But Dame with Milwaukee, maybe Chris Paul with the Warriors, and I don't know, Bradley Beal or somebody. I would like to see that. Three different superstars adjusting to new circumstances with three different teams. I think that could be really interesting.
Oh, I do too. That really is a good idea. A little different slant on it. But I think because everybody knows, they have a tremendous amount of interest because those players. I might have more interest in probably Drew Holiday at Boston as opposed to Chris Paul, because he's kind of been there, done that, and been with a lot of different teams. So, and plus I'm a big Drew Holiday fan, and then
he's the best. I don't understand.
I just like I say, I am convinced. Nobody will convince me otherwise that Milwaukee, if they knew that Drew Holiday was going to end up in Boston, that deal would never got done. No way.
Yeah, I think Boston is. It's really near impossible to predict in October who's going to win in June, but I feel really good about going with the Celtics right now.
I do too. I really think they're the best team now because they've gotten better and they were really good last year.
We take a quick timeout. When we come back, more on the 49ers. And also, Kevin Durant playing in front of Warrior fans for the first time tonight since he left in 2019. What kind of reception does he deserve? Jerry's going to weigh in on that when the Drive Guys come right back on Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Model year-end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year-end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916 Sactown Sports.
Great to have you with us today. It's a privilege to have Jerry Reynolds in for Kyle Draper today, and Drapes will be back tomorrow. He's on his way to Salt Lake City with the ball club today. So the Warriors, the Kings, the Kings getting ready to take on the Utah Jazz. Utah's one of those teams that scares you a little bit, huh, Jerry?
Scares me quite a bit. You know, they, of course, started strong last year, fell off a little bit, but, you know, they've got a budding superstar in Laurie Marketing, and certainly an outstanding coach. And Danny Ainge, maybe the best in the business at running the ball club. So, you know,
he learned it all from you, too.
You know, I'm trying to think of something he might have learned from me. I can't come up with it. I learned a lot from him. I'll say that.
Didn't you say that you realized how smart he was when he told you the problem with the team when he was on it?
Yeah, I was going to always remember that because Danny and I, well, we had a good relationship. I loved talking to him because he's one of those rare guys in the NBA. Besides being a top player, he studied the college game, knew, you know, so many guys don't. They barely know who's on their own team. But but anyway, Danny came up to me and went after practice. He said, Coach, I said, you know, I think I know what's wrong with our team. And I said, well, please share that with me. I'm all ears here. I think I got an idea. But he said, well, it's pretty simple. He said, I'm your best player. And I should be about the fourth or fifth best, like I was in Boston. And I said, you know, I think you got to the nub of the problem. So, you have any ideas how we can get four guys better than you? And he just laughed because it's like, yeah, okay, we know what the problem is. It's solving it's a hard problem.
I remember the story after you guys drafted Purvis Ellison of the story of Danny Ainge like going through the locker room. Purvis is in service. I mean, there was a time there when it looked like maybe some of those things might start coming together, right?
Well, Purvis had talent. I mean, there's no doubt he proved it for 1 year in the league with Washington that he could really play. But how I always said the biggest problem with Purvis, he didn't really want to play too much. And of course, Danny called him out of service Purvis. Oh, yeah. You know, coming out of college, he was called never nervous. Purvis.
Yeah.
And so some truth in that. But yeah, it's. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, had Purvis played like he had the ability to play, you know, we had a team that might have really come together and been pretty good. That was the key. And, of course, the other key in that time was Ricky Berry's suicide. So, you know, that's, you know, there's all those things that could have, would have, should have, or shouldn't have happened. probably did keep the team from taking a major step forward.
I know you disagree with this. We've talked about this, but I think that you were ahead of your time in that now we see teams shooting a lot of threes. And I remember you were coaching a team that started to do that with the Kings. And you reminded me of that because you mentioned Ricky Berry. And I remember a game where it was he and Harold and Vinny Del Negro. And you guys set, I think at the time, a record for most threes. But you were kind of playing that style that would be 3 or 4 out, a lot of threes. That's really popular in the NBA now.
Yeah, it really came out of desperation. That's kind of why I started doing it, because we didn't have any size or no inside game.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why are we doing, trying to play like every other team in the league?
Teams don't even bother with the inside game now sometimes. Yeah.
Even if they got good inside players, they don't.
Yeah.
Which I think is a mistake too, that it's overdone. There's a reason why you want to get high percentages, easy shots inside.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that was kind of the reason. It's like, well, just, same thing I do when I was coaching in college or anything, and say, well, who's your best players? Okay, what can we do to get them on the floor? And what can we do with them if we do? Well, then you look and say, yeah, a lot of them are little.
Yeah.
Or none of them are.
Right.
Well, at some point you just say, well, let's get them out there and figure out something. That still gives us a better chance to win, even if it's not a great chance.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to give players the freedom to, just play. Now, they like I say, and I think you see it now with every team to maybe a fault.
There's just a sameness to
it's kind of the pendulum has kind of swung, I think, too far to where there's the sameness in the league and everybody's doing the same thing. And sometimes when they don't have the same caliber of shooters or something, they're still playing for the same shots.
Right.
Why
When they're missing those shots.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
It's like the Rockets last year. It was just, oh man, I don't think you guys are doing it right. It's incredible. I know we touched on this earlier. Tonight, Kevin Durant will be playing in front of Warrior fans in San Francisco for the first time since he left there after the 2019 finals, because he was injured. You also had, of course, a pandemic. So it's incredible. My understanding is the Warriors plan to play a tribute video to Durant right before they introduce the Suns. And I think he's going to be the first one introduced. What kind of reception do you think he'll get from Warrior fans? What kind of reception do you think he deserves?
Well, I think he deserves a very positive reception just on the basis of what he did there as a player. 2 championships. He was a great player there. To me, you got to separate accomplishments as opposed to separation type thing, because as a player, he had every right to leave. He didn't break any rules.
That's how he ended up with that team in the first
place. Yeah. So you can't have it both ways if, but yeah. So I think he will get a good reception. I think he should.
That was sure a great team for those 2 years.
That might have, you'd have to put them right there with the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Because they're a 73-win team, and then you add Kevin Durant. So,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's an amazing run by that franchise, and we feel differently probably I always said the 73-win season. As years go by, will mean more than champion, because every year there's a champion.
Mm-hmm.
There's only been 1 year of a 73-win team.
Yeah.
And it means even more since they did win a bunch of championships.
Right.
So
but they didn't finish the deal, Jared.
And they didn't. And that's a fact. That's kind of like the Patriots, getting upset in the final game. But they're there again, they might very well have been the very best team to ever play.
We have some people here wondering, of course, Jerry, about your stories and about specifically what are the Legends' thoughts on the Kings this year. So we'll sprinkle this throughout the rest of the show. That's really what everyone wants to know from you. What are you thinking of this Kings team right now this year?
I think they're going to be good. I think they're a serious contender in the West, but so are 10 others at this stage. I think there's, the Nuggets are probably got a leg up on everybody, but I think there's whoever's number 2 and whoever's number 10, it's awful close.
Packed in there.
You're packed in there.
Yeah.
So, and I think the Kings have as good a chance today as any of those teams.
Yeah. It seems like what they put together last year is sustainable, right? Other than there's things you can't control. And as you said, it's hyper competitive in the West, but this doesn't look like it's likely to be a team that, last year was a fluke. You never know, but this seems much more substantial than that type of team to me.
It does to me because, of course, continuity itself is good if you got a good players, and a good team, good coach, good GM. So they've got that going for them. And to me, they know, and I think which is a key, I think, going forward, they can score every night. And so against everybody, just about, so they're going to put up 120, 130 every night. So if you want to beat the Kings, you've got to put up more. Now, many nights it's easy to do because they don't guard you very well. but the fact that they can put those numbers up makes it, some teams just can't get to that number. So now, obviously, in theory, if you want to get better, you kind of want to push that number down that the other team can get, and that'll give you a lot of success.
Is it reasonable to think that just by virtue of having spent a whole season in Mike Brown's defense, that they'll be better just because of that? They know what they're doing defensively?
I think so. I do. I think that, just the togetherness, basically everybody knows each other's role for the most part. So you would think that it would improve incrementally. And that's all I mean. It's like you can't overall become a great defensive team with no individual defenders that are great.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the floor. So that it has to get better team defense. And usually if you have the same guys, you have a chance to do that.
And then at times last year, they were, for example, on the road, there were times when they were a good defensive team. And I think we saw it in the playoffs sometimes too, that they were an above average defensive team.
Yeah. Amazing how their percentages, not just one loss on the road compared to home, but the defensive rating was so much better.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've never almost seen it. It's almost always the reverse.
Yeah.
To
and
where
you've seen a few seasons, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes, way too many. In fact, I should have. Anyway, but it is one of those things that I just will be amazed if, in fact, they're not much better at home this year.
Yeah,
and I'd be surprised if they're good on the road, to be honest.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah. That was maybe an outlier too.
It's not as if they're not supported at home. It's not like, they don't win home because nobody's there and no one cares. That's not the situation at all. So it was bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre, and I always think that sometimes the crowd is so good, and I've said this over the years, is that a lot of great players, the thing they love to do more than anything else is come in on the road and quiet the crowd. The great ones, that's more important than the home wins.
Did your buddy Larry like doing that?
Oh, he loved it. He loved it. No, and I think, the Jordans and the Birds and the Magic going way back. And, I'm sure it's the same today with the Steph Currys and LeBrons, all the Jokic, those guys, they like to go into your home crowd, and especially a loud one that's really involved, and say, okay, how you like this?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember Kobe, and I know we got to take a time out here. I'll save it for the other side. Are you up for answering questions if people call in, or if they on the chat, they have questions for Jerry Reynolds, the great Jerry Reynolds?
Do the best I can.
All right. You got a question for Jerry, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can call us. You can text us, or on the chat. Just let us know what you got for Jerry about the NBA, 100 years of the Kings franchise, the Kings' chances this year, that and more coming up as the Drive Guys continue on Sactown Sports.
The 82-game NBA journey begins Wednesday for the Sacramento Kings.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
But G-Man Gary Gerald has all the play-by-play Wednesday of season number 39 in Sacramento.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker.
It's the Kings and Jazz in the season opener from Utah.
He's got the three-point shot.
Wednesday at 6 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Quick Quack Car Wash.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We've got a nice Tuesday shaping up with mostly sunny skies. Lighter winds this afternoon. Highs will peak in the mid-70s. Plan for overnight lows, dropping off to the lower 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
There's just something about fall that makes me want to enjoy every moment. The changing leaves, the pumpkin patches, and you know what else won't last? Quick Quack's new pumpkin spice scented car wash. Text SPICE to to 41284 to get 50% off any wash.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave asking you, are you feeling the pain of paying more and more for your gas? PG&E has increased their rates 4 times in the last 5 years, and the new forecast says PG&E customers may see their bills increase 32% by 2026. The good thing is there are steps you can take to protect yourself from these rate hikes, and better yet, American Energy may be able to help you completely eliminate your gas bill with a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. Did you know SMUD offers huge rebates to eliminate your old gas guzzler? They can help you guide through the whole process. Seriously, listen to me. You go to the SMUD website. There's tons of rebates available, but it is confusing on how to do it. Listen to these rebates. $2,500 from American Energy, $3,500 from SMUD, $1,000 from Caltech, $2,000 home system upgrades. That's $9,000 in rebates. Let American Energy help you out at 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Hey, small business owner. Are you ready to have the best year ever in 2024? When's the last time you checked your workers' comp rate? For many small businesses, workers' comp insurance is one of their biggest costs. But Pi Insurance could save you up to 30% in just 3 minutes. Go to trypi.com, share a few details about your business, and get a quote that's customized for your business. No hassles or hidden fees. We know you're busy, but spending just a few minutes to check your rate could make this your best year ever. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified. See how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at folsomlakeford.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
You're simply the best.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
Simply the best. Is that for the Kings or is that for Jerry Reynolds? Jerry Reynolds, simply the best. Simone's playing that for you. Simply the best, Jerry.
I'd be on some list. I don't know if it'd be the best.
We got a lot of questions for Jerry Reynolds here on chat. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. we'll do the best we can with him. Thank you. We appreciate it. Here's a good one. Jerry, do you think we need to go after a player like OG or Pascal Siakam to get to the next level? That's from Pike 916.
Well, I think both players, either player could help you get to the next level, make you better. It's a matter of what you have to give to get them. I mean, if you have to give up part of your team to get them, then maybe you're not getting better. You're just getting different.
Yeah. Did you see their GM? That's Masai Ujiri.
Yeah.
He said about Siakam, he said, we had a lot of guys that played really selfishly last year.
Yeah, no, I think he was kind of pointing to Siakam. But
yeah.
Having said that, and I mean, to me, Siakam has been very durable through his career. OG, not as much.
Right.
And then the other part is for the particular Kings. I mean, Siakam fits exactly what they don't have. That lively, athletic four, and more so, in my opinion. But but there again, it's like, well, if you're Toronto, it's like, why would you trade him unless you can get something you think is as good or better?
And Jerry, you may know better than I do, but I think both those guys are coming up on the end of their contract. So if you bring them in, you've got to either sign them or just assume a great deal of risk that you're going to give up something for guys who aren't going to be here long.
Oh, it'd be you'd have to have pretty much a guarantee, which may be a little bit illegal, but you'd have to have some guarantees that they'd be willing to.
You wouldn't engage in that kind of
Absolutely not. I'm just shocked that you'd consider such a thing.
You brought it up. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Let's get to JR joining us here on Sactown Sports. JR, hello. You're on with Whitey and Jerry Reynolds.
The great JR.
Yes.
Well,
hello, sir. The second best basketball guy, the first best human being from French Lick, Indiana, right?
Well, I'm among them.
It's an honor to talk to you, sir. And when you're coaching Phantom back in the 1910s, was he a good rebounder?
Phantom, I mean, he could do everything to very mediocre levels, but he could do everything.
I heard his brother's even worse. But real question, sir. Last year, Game 7. Third quarter, we had the lead. We lost the lead. Would you have done anything different defensively as far as the personnel on the court during the Warriors during that third and fourth quarter that might have shut down that guy that's pretty good stuff on? And I'm wondering what you thought of that approach from Mike Brown there in the second half of a game we were leading. It's an honor to talk to you. I'll take the answer off.
Yeah, thank you. Honor to talk to you. To
Jerry,
be honest,
I know him. It's not an honor.
Okay, yeah. Well, I didn't know.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's nice of you to say that.
That probably is the only time I've honestly felt like second guessing the coach all year, and I just think Mike Brown's the best. But I would definitely have had Davion out there. Terrence Davis wasn't. It was pretty clear wasn't going to have the kind of game he had the game before. And I understand why he went out there first, because he was a key in the Game 6 win. But there's a point where, with Curry, he got it going. And if Curry gets it going, he can beat you, as we saw.
That's a tough faucet to shut off.
It's a tough, and I don't know that Davion could have shut it off. I've always said I don't think, you can't stop Curry. But in my opinion, we've seen enough of Davion on him that Curry wouldn't have got 50. He might have got 35, but he wouldn't have got 50. And so that's just my particular second guess. And who knows? Maybe Curry would have got 60 on Davion. I don't believe that's a possibility.
Aren't a lot of good options there, are there?
No. I mean, so you're hoping for offense from Terrence, which you got the game before, and you're not going to get the same level of offense from Davion. But in my opinion, offense wasn't nearly the problem as defense in that particular circumstance.
Yeah. Thank you, JR, for the question. Compio wants to know in the chat, Jerry, do you think we will see the league gravitate back to, pardon me here, I can't read it all, to the big man playing down low in the post?
Well, I hope so, to some degree. Now, when I came in the league, every team, that was all about post play inside out. Everybody did. And if you didn't have a really top level big man post player, you weren't going to win. That's when you had the Ewings and the Jabbars in those guys, and that's who won, or Karl Malone, who did the same thing.
Jerry, wasn't there a time, excuse me, but in the NBA, a lot of the thinking was you have to have a great center, just like in football, you got to have a great quarterback. It was similar. It's like you have to have a great center or you can't win a championship.
Yeah, that's exactly, and it was true, I think. I mean, to where either your center or power forward, which in some cases were converted centers. Now, it's so different. But yeah, the rules basically, you didn't use the three. It wasn't a factor. And so you're looking for the highest percentage shots, and shots, not only high percentage, but that would draw fouls.
Mm-hmm.
And so going inside's what you did. Do I think it's going to come back to that level? No, I don't. But I wish it would come back to some level, because right now, the good low post player is not being utilized or even taught. You don't even see it in college.
It looks like the mid-range game is kind of creeping back a little bit.
Yeah, it is. And I think the Warriors are a lot to do with that. I mean, they always, basically people talk about the Warriors in their great days as, they're a 3-point shoot. Well, sure, they shot threes, but they would take high percentage mid-range. I always said so many of the analytics guys kind of missed a beat there. You get out and pressure Curry and you give him a 12-foot jump shot. Well, that's a 80-90% shot.
Yeah, he's pretty good at those too.
Pretty good at those.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I hope the league does do something about the 3-point shot, which we've talked about a good bit here, because I think it's overdone.
Well, I can tell you already, we're getting too many good questions here. Appreciate them. We'll do the best we can. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Let's talk to Steven. Steven or Stefan on Sactown Sports. Steven, how are you, sir?
I am well. How are you guys doing?
Good. What can we do for you?
It is an absolute honor to speak to you guys. My question to you, Jerry, in all of the years that you have been in basketball, both WNBA and the actual NBA, what would you, I don't know if you can I don't want to take it down to one moment, but what would you say was your favorite season in your entire tenure as head coach? In the time that you were working.
Yeah, sorry, we had some issues with your phone there, Steven, but I think we got the bulk of it.
Yeah, I think I got the bulk of it, just the favorite season, more or less. And, there's so many, but I know one that always comes to mind and wasn't to the level of the best Kings team in the early 2000s or the excitement of this year's team, the championship WNBA, which really enjoyed it. So there's a lot of good memories, but the one still comes to mind. It's the Jay Will days, the first year that the team really turned in the 98-99 lockout year, with Jay Will and Paige came as rookies, and you had Vlade as a free agent, and C. Webb via trade, and a couple. And that was just, and made the playoffs when the team had been in a little, not 16-year slump, but a couple-year slump.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it's so much fun to watch, and it just came out of nowhere. And Rick Adelman, great coach. So I think I enjoyed that team, so much, because it was a highlight every night. And Jay Will, as dingy as he was,
love him. I know.
Oh, he did things. I could say that. Well, part of the reason I say that is because that's the last time I looked forward to going to practice. And I mean, it's one of those things. Not that I needed to go if from a team standpoint necessarily, but I just, I couldn't wait to watch practice. Jay Will put on a show there too. He just did things that take your breath, know, and right or wrong. I mean, he'd make some turnovers that you couldn't believe either.
Yeah. Jeff Petrie did a pretty good job that year, huh? It's like, this could work. Yeah.
He sure did. Yeah. And, on every level, when you think about it, I mean, it was the team was, I think it ended up losing 19 of the last 20 in the season before. And of course, change coaches, get Rick Adelman, obviously an all-time great Hall of Famer, very deserving.
And if Vlade's hook shot goes in, who knows?
Yeah, and Vlade, Webb, and it all came together. And I always say, give Vlade a lot of credit there. He kind of, as the players, he made it fit.
Yeah.
And so, and good guys, all good guys. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's not always about It's kind of like players. It's like some of the guys I liked the most might not have been the best players, and some of the best players I might not have liked nearly as much.
Great question, Stephen. Appreciate that. Thanks for listening. We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back with more questions for Jerry. As with Jerry in for Drapes today, we celebrate opening day of the NBA season. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
The 82-game NBA journey begins Wednesday for the Sacramento Kings.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
But G-Man Gary Gerald has all the play-by-play Wednesday of season number 39 in Sacramento.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker.
It's the Kings and Jazz in the season opener from Utah.
He's got the three-point shot.
Wednesday at 6 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear tonight with overnight lows in the low 50s. Tomorrow, look for increasing clouds, and by late afternoon or early evening, we may see a brief shower. Look for highs in the upper 60s to around 70. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
You know what time it is. It's time to trade up to a brand new Kia at Folsom Lake Kia. Trade up to the newest technology with a low payment. Shop Folsom Lake Kia, family owned for over 20 years.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and friction and reduce wear. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $33.99. Limit supply. See store for details. Get Syntec only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
Hey guys, do you know what makes Revive Men's Health Sacramento different? You. Every Revive treatment and medication is personalized just for you. Revive has the experts that guys go to when their current treatment isn't working. They have a complicated medical condition, or they're just not happy with their daily performance. Since 2011, they've helped thousands of local men suffering with the symptoms of low T and ED. Their goal is simple: to get to the bottom of your issues and fix them. Your best performance requires more than generic ED medications or a low-dose testosterone booster at a low-ball price like you find online. Revive medications are custom compounded, affordable, and guaranteed to resolve your issues. Stop dealing with the symptoms of low T or ED. Book your free T-check and exam and save $199 today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit us at revivemenshealth.com.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Are you a sports memorabilia collector? Then this is the show for you. Emil Fergoso here to introduce the True Sports Card Show, where every card tells a story and every piece of memorabilia has a history. Join industry expert Imran Polati and myself every week as we dive deep into the world of sports cards, bring you the latest trends, exclusive interviews, and the hottest tips for collectors. Tune in every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 and experience the thrill of the chase. The True Sports Card Show, brought to you by True Sports Cards and Collectibles on Sactown Sports.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad that those arch supports are in my shoes. I have terrible foot issues that prevented me from really having a normal life with my kids. With the Good Feet arch supports, man, I'm always ready. My kids actually got to enjoy me in the yard more, racing each other. backpedaling, teaching them some things, being a dad. If I had known about the Good Feet arch support earlier, I would have more than one championship. I would have 2 championship rings.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Cooler temperatures mean it's time to reduce your outdoor water use. Water 1 day per week on Saturday or Sunday from November 1st through February 29th. Learn more about your home's watering schedule at sacwaterwise.com.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Hey, Jerry Reynolds is with us today. Drapes will be back tomorrow. Drapes will be coming to us tomorrow from Salt Lake City. That's where the Kings will open the new NBA season tomorrow. Of course, the NBA season getting underway tonight, Jerry, with the Nuggets against your hated Lakers. Yeah, I was going to say something nice, but there's no reason to. It's just that's the way it is.
It's the way it is.
Yeah, and the Suns against your nearly as hated Warriors.
They're moved up to number 2. I really can't say hate with them.
Okay,
because
so there's kind of a gap there?
They're just maybe jealous, dislike, envious. All those things come into play.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing about the Warriors. When they built the new arena, I thought, great for Sacramento. Sacramento built the Golden One Center, state of the art, and then the Warriors are going to top it because, they'll have the benefit of doing it more recently, but they really didn't. And it's a wonderful place, don't get me wrong. But Golden One Center has a character that Chase, and I've been in Chase a lot, and it's a beautiful building. It doesn't have the character of the Golden One.
Golden One's hard to beat. I mean, you look around the league, for a new building, nice building that really does have great sight lines for basketball. Really, so many of the newer buildings, flashier buildings, are hockey configurations, which the end zones seating is just not as good, or the atmosphere.
In the old Boston Garden, did they used to have literally obstructed view seats?
Oh yeah, they had big poles, almost like Wrigley Field, to where. Yeah, they sure did.
And if you sat there, it's just well.
Well, that's just no way it was. No, a lot of the rumors about the old garden was all true. The dead planks there. Where the ball wouldn't bounce properly.
And the home team knew where they were.
Seemed like they certainly, from my angle, they did. But the rest.
Well, you coached in there, didn't you?
Yeah. Had some games in there, and yes, it was exciting. But I always remember the first time I scouted. My first year in the league as an assistant coach, and I did a lot of advanced scouting as well. And so I was in Boston to scout the Celtics before the Kings played them a couple days later, and had the cab take me there and drop me off at the press entrance. And it looked like it was a bank building. And I said, what the hell? I'm country. I said, are you just, just taking advantage of me here? He said, no, seriously, go right in there. That's
the arena.
and so I go in through there and have to kind of wind my way around a little bit. And then I finally find the press entrance, and there, you're going by stacked up chairs and everything else. And I thought, this might be a setup. Somebody jump out there on me. But anyway, that was it. And then, of course, later, I didn't really know too much about other than the arena, the dressing rooms and stuff. And they're just like everybody said, they're the worst.
Mm-hmm.
You hung your clothes on nails and some wire hangers and stuff in there.
Any creatures? Ever see any creatures running around in there?
No, I didn't. I think rat problem probably wasn't a problem because they'd find somewhere better to be. It
wasn't nice enough for the rat.
Yeah, they had some self-respect. They'd go somewhere else.
Okay, you got a question for Jerry, and we got some great ones. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140, or let it fly on the chat here from Mike Shamhart. Jerry, how good was Mitch Richmond?
Well, he was awfully good. He was next to Jordan. He was probably the second best
Hall of Famer.
Second best off guard in the league, and the Hall of Famer, and 5-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year when he's with Golden State. I always said probably the second best player in Sacramento Kings history to Chris Webber.
Let me say this, because Jerry is not the type to toot his own horn there, Mike, but it's a great question because this is a guy that traded for Mitch Richmond.
I sure did, and gave up Billy Owens. Looking back, that was probably a pretty good move. I always remember those. It's amazing how much, a lot of the Bay Area writers and stuff, thought, well, Don Nelson really took advantage of him. It's like, really? Why would you say that when the guy that you traded to the Kings was rookie of the year before and then averaged 23 points a game the next year? And for a guy who you don't know, he was a vaunted college player,
It ended up you fleeced him, Jerry.
And there's no doubt we got Les Jepson too.
Yes. I don't know why, but I do remember that. Yeah.
Well, like Les always told me every time we'd go to Minnesota or somewhere, he's a former Iowa guy, lived in Minneapolis. And he said, Mitch was the throw-in, wasn't he? And I said, absolutely, Les.
That's right.
We wanted you, and we had to take Mitch.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Can we get Dr. Pat on the air? Dr. Pat, do you have a question for Jerry Reynolds today?
Hey, no, I don't have a question for Jerry Reynolds, but I did want to bring up an old story that he'll remember well, I'm sure. It was about 30 years ago in the old Arco Arena. I was sitting in the second row. It was against the Portland Trail Blazers, and he jumped up after a bad call, and he went down on the ground, and everyone was very concerned, and I happened to be watching. I'm an anesthesiologist, so I was watching this, and everyone was just staring down at him. He wasn't getting up, and people had very concerned looks on their faces. So I put my second beer in a little cup holder and jumped over the guy in front of me, and I grabbed Jerry's wrist, and I felt his pulse, and it was going boom, 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 and it's sinus tachycardia, nothing too dangerous. And I asked him, I said, do you take any heart medicine or any high blood pressure medicine? He said, no. I said, do you have any heart problems? He said, no, I don't. I said, it was just a bad call, wasn't it? He goes, yeah, it was just a bad call. So I said, well, I'm going to sit you up. I said, I'm going to sit you up in the chair here. I think you're good to go. And there was a bunch of people around, and finally somebody looked at me and said, well, who the hell are you? And I said, well, there was an obstetrician I know who was in Kings Row. He was sitting at Jerry's feet. I think he was ready to deliver a baby. But he said, hey, he's an anesthesiologist. He knows what he's talking about. So I was getting ready to sit you up in the chair and let you finish the game. And the paramedics rushed out and said, we're taking him to the hospital. And they threw you on the gurney like an old invalid and dragged you out of there. And you were perfectly healthy.
Young invalid at the time.
They took you down to, I think they took you down to Sutter, did the $1 million workup. And as I expected, they found nothing. But I just wanted to bring back that old story.
Yeah.
And, it was my 15 minutes of fame. I was on ESPN that night. So anyway, I'm glad to see you're doing well, Jerry.
Well, thank you. And thank you for coming down. I always said, I didn't remember all the people.
That was me. I made the diagnosis.
Well, I mean, there were several. Yeah, there were several people around because I was out for a while. When I came to, I always say the thing I remembered the most was our trainer.
Okay, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Oh.
But anyway, like I said, it was an experience, and I'll never forget it. So,
thank you, Dr. Pat.
Thanks, Dr. Pat.
Great to hear from you. Yeah, so that was Jonesy was a trainer at the time?
Jonesy was a trainer, and he was getting ready. I'd been passed out a while, and I guess, and he getting ready to give me mouth to mouth. And I said, and I came to about that time, and I said, don't you put those lips on me.
Yeah.
And so
that's what you remember? Who made the winning shot that game?
Harold Presley.
Yeah.
Harold Presley made a shot to beat the Trailblazers. I always remember telling Harold, I can't be doing this to make you a hero every night. So that was an interesting time, and I always remember Dr. Pat was, but there were several people around. I think there was a barber down there that could give me a haircut.
So barber and an anesthesiologist and an obstetrician. So you were set.
Whatever. And it was an event.
Yeah. Wow. So you've talked to Dr. Pat since then?
No, I don't know. Well, I don't remember.
That's incredible.
But then again, I don't remember Dr.
Yeah.
Pat. It's not you. I don't remember what I had for breakfast. So.
Wow. Thanks for checking in, Doc. I had never heard that aspect of that story. We appreciate it. More questions for Jerry as we celebrate the opening of the NBA season with the Kings icon, Jerry Reynolds. More of your questions, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. It's the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Can the Niners build off their NFC Championship appearance from last season? How will the quarterbacks perform throughout the year?
Purdy back, now going to throw for the end zone, wide open, Brandon Ayuk is on fire!
Will the defense lead this squad again?
Intercepted! Ball got tipped up and taken by Fred Warner!
Get all your 49er coverage throughout the NFL season on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Model year-end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year-end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at PowerCopier.com.
Your Sacramento State Hornets are home this Saturday night against the Idaho State Bengals. It is homecoming at Sac State, so arrive early and enjoy the homecoming festivities. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m., and let's pack Hornet Stadium as the top-ranked Hornets compete for a Big Sky championship. Stick around after the game for post-game fireworks. Get your tickets now to secure your spot at Hornet Stadium for this Big Sky showdown. You can get your tickets at hornetsports.com. Stingers up.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Tuesday, I'm Simone, and these are your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers dropped their second consecutive game last night with a 22-17 loss to the Minnesota Vikings.
Purdy steps up, gets to his right, throws middle. It is intercepted by Bynum. The 49ers lose again.
With the Bengals crouched on the horizon and a short week ahead, the faithful have to find a way to enter their bye week at 6-2 rather than 5-3. For more on the state of the Niners, tap into the return of the Empire Show immediately following the Drive Guys tonight, right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023-24 NBA season is finally here, and ahead of tip-off Tuesday night, Whitey and Jerry will be unveiling their expert predictions and previewing the Kings season opener tomorrow over in Utah. And finally, Rangers punched their ticket to the World Series with an 11-4 victory over the Astros last night.
Hello, World Series! The Rangers have won their third American League pennant.
And the fate of the NLCS rests on Game 7 tonight between the Diamondbacks and Phillies, beginning at 5:07. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Welcome in to more Drive Guys.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Yeah, unique opportunity here to check in with the great Jerry Reynolds to celebrate the opening of the NBA season. We decided let's take some questions, and then next thing you know, we got Dr. Pat calling.
Dr. Pat.
Yeah, I'm the guy that revived Jerry when he blacked out courtside. So it's been. Yeah, and I thought you knew the guy. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know. Actually, there's probably people that wish he hadn't. Probably Dr. Pat may have got himself in trouble. People, what did you do that?
You think maybe he that's not his real name? He wanted to make sure no one knew his real name there, so he could. Yeah. Well, we're glad that he did revive you, and that's one of those strange moments, but unforgettable moments in Kings history. 100 years. Can you imagine that? 100 years of franchise history for this team.
No,
because the NBA's only been around since 46 or whatever.
Yeah, 46.
Yeah,
or maybe later 40. I mean, So
they're going back to the Rochester Seagrams of 1923.
Now, see, I didn't. As old as I am, I remember a little bit of the Rochester Royals before. I think before they moved to Cincinnati, and then of course at Cincinnati, I followed them a great deal because of Oscar Robertson and close to Southern Indiana.
And then you started working for them when they were the Kansas City Kings?
I helped out. I was never a full-time employee, but I did work, part-time with Summer League and like veteran camp, things like that. Because in those days, you only had one assistant. And so they'd Cotton Fitzsimmons at the time or Phil Johnson, or, I'd go in and help out, any way I could, because they'd have 20 guys and one assistant, as opposed to now where they have, I think, one guy and 20 assistants. I don't know.
They do have a lot more assistants.
A lot more assistants.
Sure they all.
And I did that, I did that with Cotton Fitzsimmons in Atlanta a little bit when I was a coach at West Georgia, which is 40 miles from Atlanta. And
so you're like a volunteer NBA assistant coach?
Yeah, because I mean, it was a case where I knew Cotton from years, same way had the experience with him, coached against him, that sort of thing. And so, he'd just say, if you could come over and we can pay you a little something and work with guys. And of course, that was they had some good teams in Atlanta that time, and it weren't championship, but Pete Maravich and I was trying to think. That's
Lou Hudson,
Walt Bellamy, and Lou Hudson, Super Lou.
Yeah, Herm Gilliam.
I don't remember if Herm was there.
Was Wetzel on the team then?
No, Wetzel, I think maybe come the year after, but I'm not sure.
Gotcha.
Of course, I would have told Wetz I just work with stars. I work with Pistol Pete. I'm not going to work with you.
If you got a question for Jerry, let us know in the chat, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We'll get back to the phones in just a moment. Here's one from McToads. Sasha Vezenkov defense, your thoughts?
Well, he's got to get better. He really isn't a factor. I'm not surprised by that because in general, most of the European players, they play a very structured defense or a lot of zone. And so it's an adjustment period. I mean, I certainly saw the same thing with Peja in his early years and even Vlade. I mean, it's a little adjustment. Can he be a stopper? I'd say no. Can he get to the point where he can defend his position? Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. But it's a work in progress. Your opinion just good as mine. And what you want to look for is, as early in the season, what he looks like defensively, and then look about 30 games into the season, and you really have a right to expect something looks better to you.
What do you look at? And I asked Matt Barnes a similar question last week when Kyle brought him on the show. What do you look at? You watch the game on TV or you're there when you're watching a guy defensively, other than, how he deals with when his man has the ball in front of him. What do you watch for defensively?
I watch it probably as much as anything as how hard they work to keep the ball from getting there. And so because it's if it's a lot easier to guard a guy if you don't have the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because when they got it, they're a threat to score.
Yeah.
I mean, I always point out to there's never been somebody made points without the ball in their hands.
It's funny you say that. I remember it playing in high school when I learned that. Not that it's nothing like the NBA, but I remember when they taught us that. I remember thinking, that's really hard.
Yeah. It's really hard. And
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times you can't keep them from doing it. But if anything you do to keep them getting the ball, and then after they get it, and pressure them enough so they'll give it up.
Yeah.
What you don't want is to get them comfortable with the ball.
Yeah.
I.e., quarterbacks who can stand in the pocket.
That's why I think, Jerry, defense is the most selfless thing a basketball player can do. Because like we say, you have to work so hard to try to keep him from getting the ball, him or her. Then once they get the ball, that's when your work really starts.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's a good point. And I always say there's a different mentality in basketball. I mean, as far as offense and defense, offense is more poise, control, and now defense is just, like, I'm going to get you type thing. It's more motivation and physicalness to it.
Yeah. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Paul joins us on Sactown Sports. Are the Drive Guys, Paul? What's up?
Hi, guys. Hey, Jerry. It's an honor to speak with you.
Well,
I wanted to know if you remembered a player on that original Kings team named David Cook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember David, came out of St. Mary's, was on that very first team. Really nice young man. Didn't get to play a lot, but very athletic. And, I've seen him a few times, through the years. But, yeah, David, one of the early St. Mary's players that, made the league.
Okay. Thank you. The David Cook question.
Jerry remembers. See, I bet you don't remember David Cook, do you?
I want to say I remember the name, but I couldn't tell you anything about him. So
yeah.
Reynolds remembers. Are you ever going to write another book? That was another question we had up here. Speaking of Reynolds remembers,
it's not high on my list. There's part of the reason is Don Drysdale, who was the co-author, did all basically the work and really gifted writer. I don't know if he'd want to do it. And I just wouldn't even consider one without him doing it.
Gotcha.
And then even if he wanted to do it, I'm not sure I'd consider it either.
I just saw one at Barnes & Noble and they changed the name of it.
Yeah.
It goes by a different name.
Well, a different publisher got it and they changed this Tales from the Sacramento Kings. And the reason they did is so they don't have to pay us anything when they sell them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind
it's
of
like, oh no, you wrote the other book. We'll just change the name.
Yeah, it's exact. Well, they have a little. I think Jason Jones was with the B at the time, wrote a little prologue or whatever, and they had somebody else do a little something, just to make it different. But it's the exact same book. So, and it doesn't have near as good a cover because the original had a cover, and I was standing there full cover.
That's right,
looking good.
Right. How are they going to sell any books if you're not on the cover?
Absolutely. I was a pretty man back then.
People used to mistake you for Leslie Nielsen. I mean, literally? Is that
I have been confused with him and Bill Murray.
Okay.
Yeah. I some people have, when we used to be in LA a lot, walk by and people say, Bill Murray. I said, yeah, I am.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. I know Mitch has been on hold a long time. Let's put Mitch on the air here. Mitch. Hello, Mitch. You're on with the Drive Guys. What's up today?
How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm doing horrible here. I'll switch it up. I'll stay with basketball for once, right? Stay with the topic. Jerry, nice to talk to you.
Nice talking to you.
I say, Jason Williams, Aaron Gordon, what might have been, he was such a great point guard to see. But I think Fox is going to be the best. I think the best roster ever. Thanks for taking the call.
Oh, thank you, Mitch. Yeah. How about that? Best point guard ever, De'Aaron Fox for the Kings? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. De'Aaron Fox, certainly Jason Williams was a different kind of player, flashy, not nearly as talented as De'Aaron Fox. So let's go there. I mean, I'd like Jason for a lot of those kind of things and the timing of his arrival and all that, highlight film. But Fox Fox, I think, will be the very best player to ever play for the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
I'll never.
You got into some hot water about that recently.
Yeah,
didn't you?
well, I'd said that, and people, I said, be the best player in Sacramento Kings history, and some fans thought I was talking about Kings history.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't, because I did grow up and saw Oscar Robertson play for the Cincinnati Royals.
Yeah.
And Nate Archibald with the old Kansas City Kings when he was one of the best players in the league before his Achilles injuries and things that slowed him down. But I think Fox has a chance to maybe be better than Nate in time. He's not yet, but in 2 or 3 years, he might be at that level and surpass him. But the chance of him being better than Oscar Robertson, 0.
We heard from Kyle Draper. He has landed. We may hear from Kyle here, trying to kind of put that off because I'm afraid, he's going to crow about everything he said about the 49ers yesterday. So, we're trying to say, oh, well, it's not a good time now. We'll see. But we're having so much fun with Jerry. We'll see if we can fit it in. So we may hear from Kyle Draper coming up. And we have more questions for Jerry as we celebrate the start of the NBA season. Drive Guys rolling on here. We'll be right back on Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
It's the model year-end sales event at Acura of Stockton. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Lease a new Acura RDX or MDX. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton or AcuraofStockton.com, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Yeah, what a week to be a Kings fan. Of course, we got the new season starting tonight. Jerry Reynolds with us today because Kyle Draper's in Salt Lake City. Apparently, he just landed, so we may be hearing from Drapes here in a little bit. And then Drapes has a call on TV tomorrow, Jerry, for the Kings opener. And then, of course, Friday we've got the home opener against the Warriors. So, and then, of course, the Lakers come in Sunday. So it's big week. We've been waiting, and here we go.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Always the start of a season. Obviously, a lot of reason to be enthusiastic. Of course, every team is at this stage.
But we don't have to fake it around here this year.
We don't have to fake it this time. I mean, you can say, well, no, this team is a good team. It proved that last year, and they'll have to continue to prove it. But there's every reason to believe as a fan, which is what I am, is that this is a good team, a fun team to watch, and they'll continue to prove that they're that.
Isn't one of the most incredible things about last season, I know it's kind of a leading question, but I think it's remarkable looking back that they started 0-4 and then still ended up with the year they had.
Yeah, that was really remarkable. And I would say that may have been as big a key to Mike Brown being the coach of the year as anything, because a lot of teams 0-4, and then you start chipping away at one another, and it could go sideways pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
But to his credit, and the players, of course, they hung in there and turned it around.
Question from TCG here on the chat. Hey, Jerry, you think the team as constructed has the ability to make the next jump without adding someone major?
I think they can make a jump. I think they can win a playoff series. Now, if you'd ask me, as construction, are they a serious championship contender? I don't believe that. I'd like to be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be wrong, but I don't don't think so. I think this team has a chance to advance in the playoffs. But I think there's, I don't see them in the same level as if teams are healthy like Boston or Milwaukee or Denver for sure. I just think if everybody's healthy, those teams are better.
Mm-hmm. Rockin _ New Era 84. Good to have you with us today. What does Jerry think of the in-season tournament? Here we go.
Well, to say my enthusiasm is waning would be an exaggeration.
Well, that would imply that you had some to begin with.
Yeah, that's right. So that's inaccurate because it was never. I don't know what they're doing. It may work. The only thing I can say is I didn't like the idea of the play-in when it happened. Now I do. So, I can be. I may change. I don't think so, but
I do think it's going to be confusing the first time around. You have the first round, and then there's right now, as you know, Jared, there's a whole portion of the schedule that we don't know what's going to be in there because it depends who wins the emerges from the groups. And I think there's going to be some confusion there. Like, what is this game exactly? What's going on? I don't know that that's what the league needs right now.
I don't think it is. I mean, I think, that's why you have a win-loss column that you can follow every day. And it's kind of for those of us, okay, the Kings have won 32 and lost 23 and look over here, that's all I need. I don't need a tournament. To me, it's so much like the college does with all the Christmas tournaments or conference tournaments. All it does is it doesn't change anything. Only when it really counts is the NCAA tournament, and whoever wins the Christmas tournament or even their conference tournament, it doesn't mean diddly squat if they don't do well on the NCAAs.
Here's what I think it comes down to. What do you think of this? I know watching that game between the Warriors and the Kings, the final preseason game, it was meaningless, but it was very entertaining because both teams wanted to win. So if the players care about the in-season tournament, it's hard to imagine they will. But I know Chris Paul has said, we will win that thing. If the players are competing hard and they care about it, then it's going to be worthwhile. And if they don't, it's not. I think it's that simple.
Oh, I do too. That's a great point because, we all love good basketball. So if they're trying hard and playing hard, that's fine. I don't care about the tournament status. It's just really good basketball. Then I'll be excited to watch it.
Let's see here. What else we got? Questions for Jerry. Somebody wants to know, Manny Too Legit. Jerry, what do you expect on Friday versus the Warriors?
Well, I expect a Kings win. Obviously, the Warriors would be a tremendous victory. The Warriors are really good, maybe going to be better than last year. I think the Kings are really good, and they'll be slightly better than last year as well. So the rivalry is beginning.
Mm-hmm. Have we approached to the point where are we getting anywhere near that Laker-Kings rivalry?
I don't think so yet. They're,
Because they were 3 or 4 years in a row they played in the playoffs against each other.
Yeah, and in that time, for the most part, I mean, the Kings were as good or better. Certainly world championship caliber teams, and so that made it a good deal. And just the natural animosities toward anything from Los Angeles helps. So in my mind, no, it hasn't got there yet.
One of the things that I'll never forget about that series, the final go round, the very controversial series, we were the underdogs from Sacramento and they were the mighty Hollywood Lakers. I think the Kings had a higher payroll, didn't they? I think they actually
may have because, the Lakers, they had Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had some other good players, but, you got two of the top 10 guys who ever played on your team and they had high percentage of the money, that's for sure. Ours, the Kings were a lot more dispersed as ever.
Right. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. I think it looks like Paul is back with us. Paul, back on the drive, guys. Jerry Reynolds.
Hey,
hello.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Sorry about that. My phone dropped between my seats just as I was ready to talk. I apologize.
No worries.
So Jerry, David's an old high school teammate of mine, and we stay in contact. And the one thing I wanted to remark was he had always credited you as being the one person on the coaching staff that he felt like was the most responsible for him making that team because he was a walk-on from St. Mary's. And that always kind of struck me because it's like, I know, you have that reputation and you're just the person of character. And That always just stuck with me that he said that about you.
Well, that is nice. I mean, like I say, I remember David well, and really hard worker, wanted to work extra time and all that, and so I was really really happy and not surprised that he made the league. Nobody really expected him to when he came out of college, so I felt good about it, and it's it's great. Like I say, of all the great St. Mary's players since, it's kind of good to know he was kind of the first there for several decades.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Who was one of, and I don't know if you want to pick a favorite, if you want to find, but who would you say, if you don't want to go, the favorite, who is one of your favorite Sacramento Kings players to coach?
Well, there's so many. I mean, Eddie Johnson would be one for sure. And there's, teammate or players that I didn't coach, but I mean, enjoyed Danny Ainge a lot. And then you had guys later on that I didn't coach, but, really enjoyed the Kevin Martins and the Garcias, Bogdan Bogdanovic. I mean, you go down through the eras and then guys that did not get much playing time were delightful, like Jimmy Less or Pete Chilcutt. Maybe Derek Martin. I always got a kick out of Derek
Martin.
Yeah, I would really enjoy Derek. And of course, another one of my favorites was John Barry, because John, would love to talk basketball and very opinionated, like I am, although much more than I am, really. But I always, and Beno Udrich was a favorite, because they're there again, Beno, one of those guys that always get on the bus and want to sit down and talk what happened in the game, and I liked him, but he'd always ask my opinion and then basically second guess everything that happened, But
didn't you trade for him, or you were somehow involved?
I was in player personnel at the time, Jeff. So we knew of him, and I made some calls on him and things, but picked him up. I think from Minnesota. I'm not sure what was all the details, but Beno was a good player, and I always say I one of my favorite. I called him the Tasmanian Slovenian.
Yes, I know.
And,
I know.
And a young lady wasn't, in her maybe 40s, but she came up and kind of dressed me down and said, "That's really insulting to Beno," And I said, "Well, I talked to Beno about it. He doesn't have he likes it. He gets a kick out of it." So the way I felt was, I don't care if you don't like it. If he likes it, that's all I care about.
Derek Martin, he used to come on our show once a week. And do you remember this, Jer? This might have been 2000. So Derek Martin's playing. He goes in. It's against Dallas. And Adelman puts him in the game late. Puts him in, but very late, like with a minute something left. And Derek Martin, every time he touches the ball, he shoots it. And every time he makes a shot, he stares down his coach. Do you remember that?
Oh,
he
yeah.
stared down his own coach. And I think it might have been his birthday or something. And he ends up scoring 11 points in 90 seconds or something. And every time he scores, he stares down his coach. And we had him on. It was like one of our first times interviewing him. And I really didn't know how to handle that, Jerry, because on the one hand, good for you. On the other hand, you can't stare down your own coach. But it was his first time on the show. That was a strange one.
Well, Derek, I mean, certainly the fact that he shot it every time he touched it's not strange, because that's what he did. I mean, it's to Rick Adelman's credit that he didn't, he didn't really take much. I mean, he might have been offended, but it didn't. He wasn't going to play Derek anyway. And that's what Derek was kind of doing. It's like, look how good I am, and you're not playing me. So you can get a lot of that kind of stuff, but not usually that open.
Right.
But I always got a kick out of Derek, because, like I say, he had no. He didn't mislead you in any way. If it feels like leather, I'm going to shoot it.
It's going to fly. Yeah. When we come back, would making the playoffs again be an achievement for the Kings? Would it constitute a successful season? Going to hear from Kyle Draper from Salt Lake City here at some point coming up as well. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
What's the latest with the San Francisco 49ers? Carmichael, Dave, and Jason on all things red and gold during the Niners at 9 every weekday at 9 a.m. on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave letting you know Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room and primetime football location, is back. Cap Casino giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game, offering the best food, best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region and conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. Check it out, Capital Casino. And as always, please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Hey, small business owner. Are you ready to have the best year ever in 2024? When's the last time you checked your workers' comp rate? For many small businesses, workers' comp insurance is one of their biggest costs. But Pi Insurance could save you up to 30% in just 3 minutes. Go to trypi.com, share a few details about your business, and get a quote that's customized for your business. No hassles or hidden fees. We know you're busy, but spending just a few minutes to check your rate could make this your best year ever. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified. See how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote at trypi.com. That's trypie.com.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
500 Capitol Mall, Suite 2060, Sacramento, California, 95814. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep, switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with zero down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
Zero down with approved credit.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Tuesday, I'm Simone, and these are your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers dropped their second consecutive game last night with a 22-17 loss to the Minnesota Vikings.
Purdy steps up, gets to his right, throws middle. It is intercepted by Bynum. The 49ers lose again.
With the Bengals crouched on the horizon and a short week ahead, the faithful have to find a way to enter their bye week at 6-2 rather than 5-3. For more on the state of the Niners, tap into the return of the Empire Show immediately following the Drive Guys tonight, right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023-24 NBA season is finally here, and ahead of tip-off Tuesday night, Whitey and Jerry will be unveiling their expert predictions and previewing the Kings season opener tomorrow over in Utah. And finally, Rangers punched their ticket to the World Series with an 11-4 victory over the Astros last night.
Hello, World Series! The Rangers have won their third American League pennant.
And the fate of the NLCS rests on Game 7 tonight between the Diamondbacks and Phillies, beginning at 5:07. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Welcome back in to more Drive Guys.
Live Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
I got to confess that one of my goals this baseball season was to get Jerry back in touch with baseball, because he used to be a baseball player, set a record for Indiana high school players, but it didn't work. Like the World Series coming up, you don't care, do you?
Very little.
I tried.
I know.
I tried.
I'm ashamed of myself because I just grew up loving it and following it and memorizing stats and all that. But, it's just.
Yeah. You have passed the game by, left it in the dust. Yeah.
Well, I think, it's just one of the, I think what they're doing to make the game quicker and better, they're on the right track, but they may have lost too much ground,
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought when I was like in high school that football would be bigger than baseball? People would have probably just assumed you're ready for mental help.
Right. I actually barely remember those days myself. I know now that's unbelievable to people. Speaking of football, Kyle Draper should be joining us in just a moment here. And Jer, I need your help to keep steering our conversation as much as we can to the Kings and the opener tomorrow in Utah, because Drapes is probably going to want to talk a lot about the fact that he told us yesterday that the 49ers were in big trouble in Minnesota. So he was right, but, we don't want to give him too much credit for that because it was a painful loss.
Well, I think he's going to have something to say about his Eagles. I think,
that's the other thing. Yeah.
He may be putting on fake wings now as we speak. You never know.
I got to be honest. We're looking ahead to this game December 3rd. Yeah, here we go. The 49ers and the Eagles. And right now I feel like, whoa. The 49ers got to get their house in order before they go into Philly.
Yeah, they better. I think there's some bad boys back there. And so it'll be, but they're capable. I mean, the Niners are capable of beating any team in the league, and 5 or 6 are more than capable of beating the Niners, as we've seen 2 already.
Yeah, I really didn't expect the Cleveland thing. Okay. I really thought the 49ers are going to have maybe not a really easy one-sided win, but I thought they'd have a comfortable win last night. They get the interception, they're marching downfield, and then weird things like, wait, McCaffrey doesn't fumble on the 11-yard line, in the end of the game. Purdy doesn't throw 2 interceptions, but that's the nature of it, right? That's the NFL.
It sure is.
Yeah, and to tell us more about that, from Salt Lake City, where he's getting ready for the call tomorrow night for the Kings and the opener against the Jazz, it's Kyle Draper. Kyle, say hello to Jerry Reynolds.
Wrong.
Wow. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Jerry? What's up, Whitey? What's up, Samo? Sorry, I was just watching a show on TV. It was so funny. It was called The Niners and the Vikings game. It was so funny, man. It was awesome. It was awesome. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Well, we're doing fine. Yeah, you missed earlier. TCG called in and apologized. He knew you weren't here, but he apologized to you. Said the Eagles are the best in the NFC. So, I mean, people have at least been holding up their end of the bargain here after yesterday's unpleasantness, Kyle.
Yeah, TCG, he's my guy. It's all in fun, obviously. And Whitey, and Jerry, I hate to be that I told you so guy, but I'm a basket. Just
Kyle,
today.
you don't mind being that I told you so guy.
You're right about that. But man, what a game yesterday. I mean, Jordan Addison, that's somebody we talked about yesterday, Whitey. You got to keep an eye on him. He had a big game. And then, everybody want to talk about Brock Purdy, and I'm not going to talk about that. What happened to the defense yesterday? That's what surprised. They made Kirk Cousins look like Dan Marino out there, Tom Brady. I mean, he looked like Steph Curry the way he was knocking down the threes, like converting those third down conversions. I mean, I was shocked by that. And, they still had a chance to win.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, 45 dropbacks, and the 49ers didn't get a single sack. And I think we talked about that yesterday. It was time for the defense to really lay the foundation for a win since the offense was compromised, and the defense was just flat out. So, yeah, the 49ers got some issues. They better straighten things out before they go to Philly on December 3rd. But I'm sure they will, Kyle. I guarantee you they will.
Yeah, they'll be good. They'll be good. The problem, that the Niners are having, is the defense, right? We talked about this yesterday. Their recipe for winning is to get up early, 7-0, 14-0. And we've seen the last 2 weeks. If they don't get up early, they have some troubles. They can't count on the defense. And the defense, didn't give up a whole lot of points, but they gave up, 400 plus yards. I mean, to a Minnesota offense that's missing Justin Jefferson, that is, 30th in the NFL in rushing. And to me, when you look at Nick Bosa and that defensive line and all that money they've invested in that defensive line, they have not earned their pay this season. They have not held up their end of the bargain, and that's concerning to me.
Yeah. By the way, on the chat here, this was before we actually brought you on, and Tall Chinese Guy says, I think Drapes will keep it classy and not rub our noses in it. Wrong!
I did for 2.5 hours, however long y'all been on the air. I didn't call in, no text, no tweets or anything, But then talking to Simone before I got on, she's just so hurt by what happened last night. But I'll keep the same energy, guys, that I kept when the Niners were winning.
You don't
win championships in October, and you don't lose them in October also. It's still a long season, a lot of football left to be played.
Yeah, well, you earned that. You certainly earned that. What can you tell us about what's going on in Salt Lake City and the mood on the eve of the Kings season opener?
No, you can feel the excitement. You can feel the anticipation with the guys. We just got to the hotel. As a matter of fact, in the next half hour, 45 minutes, we got a big team dinner at a local restaurant, so a team bonding thing. I'm sure Mike Brown will make a speech. Monty McNair is here on the trip as well. And so you can just feel the excitement, the anticipation for tomorrow night.
Well, it's going to be fun for you as well as the team and us watching TV. I'll have my popcorn and my lazy boy ready for you.
Do you? I know Jerry is concerned about a number of teams in the West that didn't quite make the playoffs last year, and Utah's one of them. How good are these Jazz, Kyle?
I think this Jazz team is probably one of the most underrated teams out there. They're the Rodney Dangerfields. Nobody's giving them respect. Let's not forget they got an all-star, obviously, in Markkanen, but they added some pieces as well. I actually like the John Collins move they made, and then you got a Jordan Clarkson and we saw Colin Sexton last week, and so I think this is a talented Utah team. I think Will Hardy's one of the best young coaches in the game as well. And as you guys know, playing in Utah is always difficult. And so this is no cakewalk tomorrow. I'm not saying Utah is going to be in the playoffs or anything like that, but they'll be in the mix for a playoff play-in spot, I think.
Yeah. Kyle Draper coming to us from Salt Lake City, where he's got the call tomorrow night. So tonight is just all prep work for you, right? You got to be ready when the bell rings tomorrow.
Yeah, I got to get my beauty sleep too. I don't wake up looking good, and I put hard work into this. So I got to get that beauty sleep. But no, I'll deep dive into the Jazz roster tonight. Start going through my notes, and it's sort of like the NFL when you script out the first 15 plays. Well, I'll script out my open, and because especially for the season opener, you want to hit it right. You want to come correct on the season opener, and so I'll be locked into the hotel room after this dinner, watching some basketball and getting ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so will you be putting your game face on early tomorrow or a little bit later?
What did Jerry say? What did he say?
Your game face, you putting that on early tomorrow, or when does the game face go on for Kyle Draper tomorrow?
Well, I think it's going to come on at 2:00 Pacific because we got the radio show tomorrow. And so I got to be on point and ready to go, with the hot takes and everything at 2 p.m. So it'll be an early game face. But trust me, I'll get my 8 hours of sleep tonight and I'll be ready.
Well, we appreciate you checking in. Enjoy your time in Salt Lake City. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks, Kyle. We appreciate it. And we'll see December 3rd, but you kind of earned that one a little bit. Got it.
Thanks, fellas. Keep up the good work there. Jerry, always good talking to you, my man.
Good talking to you, Kyle. Take care. Good luck.
Care. Yeah, Kyle.
All right, man.
Yeah, the one and only Kyle Draper coming to us from Salt Lake City. By the way, somebody here absolutely not on the chat. I'm glad you checked in because I remember this. Gotta love Drapes. Shout out. And he said, I remember this. I called the game 21-17 Vikings yesterday. He sure did, whoever that is.
Wow.
Yeah. So almost on the nose. 21-17 was a pick. Of course, we had 22-7.
You might try to get him some more information from that guy.
That's a good idea. Yeah. I'll have to keep him on speed dial. Absolutely not. What do you got for the Kings and the Jazz tomorrow? We'd We'd love to know. Well, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't as bad as I thought it might have been. The whole laughing thing was.
Yeah, he was classy, but he did get a few chuckles in on you.
He took the high road, didn't he?
Yeah. Sometimes the high road's pretty hard to take.
Yeah. Oh well, it's gonna feel good if I shouldn't say if, right? When the 49ers win, right?
Yes. Have some positive,
when the 49ers win.
Positive vibe.
Oh yeah, we'll get all that back and more when we come back. Jerry was just talking about new rules in baseball. How about the new NBA rules? Can the NBA's new rules? Can any of them work? The anti-flopping, the coaches challenge, the player participation policy. We'll see what the great Jerry Reynolds thinks about that. Also, any questions for Jer? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear tonight with overnight lows in the low 50s. Tomorrow, look for increasing clouds, and by late afternoon or early evening, we may see a brief shower. Look for highs in the upper 60s to around 70. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
Winter's coming, so let's kick off the cold season right and get your heater all tuned up. Now, just $79. No matter how cold it gets outside, you'll always be warm and toasty inside. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air, Bonnie.com.
Does your dog leave frowny piles of poo around the yard? Do you know that a solid poo is one of the best indicators of your dog's gut health? Supreme Source Super Premium Dog Food is made with organic super seaweed and other powerful antioxidants, supporting a healthy digestive system. Real protein is always the first ingredient, plus a blend of essential vitamins and minerals that help support your dog's overall health and well-being. Do their digestion a solid, literally. Find Supreme Source Premium Dog Food at Safeway, Save Mart, and Winco, or a local grocery store near you.
At Ashton & Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
It's a new era in entertainment. Experience legendary performers like never before. All new and all incredible. This is the venue. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches in my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple people recommended the Good Feet store to me, I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around this store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches on my feet stopped hurting and the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a Good Feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Knee, hip, foot, leg, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
It's time to trade in and trade up at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com. It's all a click away.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own loan report.
Homecoming night for Sacramento State football this Saturday versus Idaho State Bengals. Kickoff 6 p.m. Come early and enjoy the festivities. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
So, do you think JaVale McGee can help the Kings as much as his mom helped the Monarchs in her 1 year here?
He will be significantly more valuable. I traded his mom, by the way, to L.A., and she wanted to trade because she'd been a star at Southern Cal. I do remember JaVale hanging around, a little bitty, kind of a pain in the ass, actually.
You remember that, Jer?
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
I'm sorry. That was when you were on with Chris and I. You were talking about JaVale McGee and you traded his mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you said he used to hang around. You referred to him as kind of a pain in the behind.
Pain in the ass, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was or not.
Well, he seemed at the time. I wouldn't say he is now, but he was 5 years old or whatever he was.
Yeah. You didn't watch much of the WNBA finals this year, did you?
Not near as much. No.
Yeah. I tried and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, a lot of times, you didn't know when the games were on, and there's two teams just so much better than everybody else.
Yeah. But that game, the women's game, gets better and better and better and better, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Every year it gets better and better and better. Congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces. Jerry Reynolds is in with us today. Kyle Draper, we just heard from Kyle. He's in Salt Lake City, and he'll be back tomorrow for the show. And then, of course, he'll have the play-by-play. We've been talking about some of the new things in the NBA this year, Jer. I'm wondering what you think of any of the new rules, and there's really three that stand out. Do you think any of this can work? We got the anti-flop rules, where supposedly if a player is flopping, they're going to be fined, and it was not reviewable, and it's going to be a technical foul. We also have the new player participation policy, which, again, is the whole load management thing, and you can't load manage this many guys on this many nights, whatever it is. And then we also have an additional coach's challenge. If you get it right, you get an additional challenge. Do you like any of that? Is any of that going to make the game better?
Well, I like the attempt at all of it. I mean, I really like the coach's challenge because they should get another one if they get it right. And so it just seems to make sense to me. And they won't, basically let some bad calls go because they're afraid to challenge, and they'll use their challenge type thing. So I like that. Now, having said that, I wish they would have a 30-second kind of rule attached to it. The old, in theories, the way it came was like, if you can't really see immediately where you made the mistake, then don't change it.
Mm-hmm. So, you mean like a limit on how long they can look at it?
Yeah, absolutely. I understand. It's like in football. Yeah, you can look for 32 minutes, and you're in some cases you still can't see where the line to gain or the fumble. If you can't see it, then go with the call.
So you'd have a 30-second clock on that.
I sure would.
Okay. All right. They'll review it, but if you don't find what you're looking for in 30 seconds, the game must go on.
The game must go on. I mean, at some point, yeah, absolutely. I think most people would prefer that. There'll be, maybe later on, somebody will see a clip. Oh, well, that proved that was a wrong call. I don't think so. I think for the most part, hey, can we overturn the call based on what we're seeing here with 3 or 4 looks?
Before they decided they were going to adopt this rule, I asked Steve Kerr about that, and what he said was he'd rather they just not have replay review at all, which sometimes I definitely feel that way. And there'd be missed calls, but there's going to be missed calls anyway, and let's just keep it moving, right?
Yeah, well, I think I wouldn't disagree with that. I do kind of like the idea of maybe in the last 2 minutes where the league itself overseas could just tell the refs, look, you got that one wrong.
So there's no gamesmanship about challenging. It's just you have someone saying that was wrong. We need to get it right.
Yeah, that would make, I think most people would, because, hey, the game's coming down to certain plays in many cases. So in that case, okay, eye in the sky, tell us.
Yeah, the thing I like about that is it, like I say, it takes the coaches have enough to worry about, as you know better than any of us. And, well, do I challenge that? Do I not? Well, if I challenge that, do I get another one? Coach shouldn't have to worry about that. There should be somebody who's looking at it going, that call was wrong.
Yeah, so often they have to turn into assistants or whoever, and then by the time they get, it's too late.
Right.
And so
we've got enough to do. The officials, there should be an official figuring that out. So we'll see how it goes. So I think I'm with you. Better than the old system, but still could be improved. How about the flopping? I don't know how in the world this is going to work, Jerry.
I don't either. I mean, I appreciate the fact they're going to try, and maybe it's one of those things you call some early in the season, which I think will be called just to send the message, and you're going to get some wrong. But I'd almost say it's almost better to get some calls wrong in order to kind of set a precedence that if you're going to fall backwards like you did, you need to at least be dinged up a little bit.
I don't know the answer to this. I wonder if you run into me and you do commit a foul, but I exaggerate it, can I get a technical and it's an offensive foul? You know what I mean? I mean, a foul's a foul.
Yeah, that's what we don't really know. They have, like the exaggeration part. I mean, that's what flopping is.
Yeah.
Is exaggeration. So, in my mind, it's okay. Then if that's what it is, and you say that it is, then call it on that as well.
Yeah.
We don't need guys, like they do in hockey or soccer in particular, where they, somebody touched them, they'd like they've had a cardiac arrest, Well, so no, I think, I'd err on the side, make a few bad calls early if you're going to flop all over the place, then you should get a technical.
Hasn't the league in the past sometimes threatened to do this or that with rules? Like years ago, they were really cracking down on anybody complaining about a call. But then once the season started, they just forgot about it. So I'm wondering if some of this is like they're trying to discourage players from flopping, but they don't plan to actually do anything about it.
That'd be my guess.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think that it sounds good, and maybe we'll see it early in the season as the season goes. And I think with so much of the media, and especially TV people, and I was one of them, but would basically always say, well, you can't call a technical on that, or you can't call a technical now. Yeah, you can.
That's why you have the rule.
Yeah. The fact you didn't hear what the player said when he was, just stay out of it.
Yeah.
It's like if the official, at some point, I think you have to respect the officials until, if they're not very good at their jobs, they need to be replaced. But basketball is impossible to call 100%.
If we started a GoFundMe campaign where all the money goes to the league, if they will call a flopping penalty on LeBron, how much would you contribute to get us started? So
I'd get permission, Mr. Reynolds. I'd chip in there some, I'll tell you.
That's what I'd like.
I said, I think she'd go along with it.
Can you imagine the look on his face if they called it? That's a flop on LeBron, and it's going to be a technical foul. I don't think that'll ever happen.
No, not in my lifetime.
No. And then the load management, the player participation policy. I mean, Bradley Beal's not even playing tonight. So again, nice try, but I don't see how this can work.
I'm afraid not. I mean, I think it's a great try, and kind of at least make guys that miss games have come up with some kind of thing rather than saying load management or rest, which is just offensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say there was some of that went on in my day as well, but it would be flu-like symptoms, back spasms,
calf strain,
that sort of thing.
Yeah. By the way, very unfortunate, and I'm not suggesting he's managing his load, but Trey Lyle's not playing tomorrow night, apparently. He's got a kind of a calf strain.
Yeah. He's an important player. Very important player.
Yeah. How often are the Kings going to light the beam this year? Jerry, sharing his thoughts on that. We'll look ahead into our crystal basketballs as the Drive Guys continue on Sactown Sports.
Can Mike Brown build on last season's Coach of the Year award? Can the Kings exceed 48 wins?
We will be better prepared to make the run that we expect to run come next playoff.
Tune into every Kings game this season on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Model year-end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year-end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
How far do you hit your 7-iron? Writer Josh Senn says it has implications for your enjoyment of the game as well as your pace of play. In a survey of 700 PGA and LPGA professionals, they say roughly 75% of female golfers and 50% of males play from distances that exceed their ability. Rounds are time-consuming and the game becomes less fun. The PGA, LPGA, and USGA spent years crunching numbers, surveying players, and reached guidelines based on your 7-iron distance. If you hit your 7-iron 140 yards, best course length is 5,900 to 6,100 yards. If your 7-iron goes 125 yards, play from 5,400 to 5,600 yards. If you bash your 7-iron 170 yards, play wherever you want. On a recent golf trip to Grey Eagle, the G-Man Gary Gerald and I moved up a tee and thoroughly enjoyed ourselves hitting greens and putting for birdies. Give it a try and see if you don't have more fun. But the putting, well, that's on you. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Hey guys, do you know what makes Revive Men's Health Sacramento different? You. Every Revive treatment and medication is personalized just for you. Revive has the experts that guys go to when their current treatment isn't working. They have a complicated medical condition, or they're just not happy with their daily performance. Since 2011, they've helped thousands of local men suffering with the symptoms of low T and ED. Their goal is simple: to get to the bottom of your issues and fix them. Your best performance requires more than generic ED medications or a low-dose testosterone booster at a low-ball price like you find online. Revive medications are custom compounded, affordable, and guaranteed to resolve your issues. Stop dealing with the symptoms of low T or ED. Book your free T-check and exam and save $199 today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit us at revivemenshealth.com.
Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Hey, small business owner. Are you ready to have the best year ever in 2024? When's the last time you checked your workers' comp rate? For many small businesses, workers' comp insurance is one of their biggest costs. But Pi Insurance could save you up to 30% in just 3 minutes. Go to trypi.com, share a few details about your business, and get a quote that's customized for your business. No hassles or hidden fees. We know you're busy, but spending just a few minutes to check your rate could make this your best year ever. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified. See how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
Hey y'all, this is Bill with the Good Guys. Call Good Guys Heating and Cooling now. Tired of overpriced repairs? Call the Good Guys. Jaw-dropping quote for a new HVAC system? Call the Good Guys. Don't trust the other guys. Call the good guys. We offer free second opinions. Family owned and operated, always ready to serve the community. We offer the best service, best price, guaranteed. And that's no bull.
Call 530-GOOD-AIR. License number 1057618.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports.
Live and local.
Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Happy to have you with us. Jerry Reynolds is in for Kyle Draper today. Drape's back with us tomorrow. And Jerry, I know, is happy because Denver is, so far, so good. Kind of kicking the Lakers behind a little bit here.
Really makes me happy. And anytime the Lakers lose, if they could go 0-82, I'd be okay with that.
But they're not going to do that, are they?
I know they're not. I think they're really going to be good. I think that, they're going to start the season overall like they finished last year.
Yeah.
They've got their roster set. Obviously so much comes down to LeBron and Davis being healthy, but their support cast is terrific.
So with Jerry here, we've been celebrating the start of the NBA season, fielding some of your questions. Here's a comment, actually, not a question, Jerry, but is it Compio says, Whitey, Jerry was a very good tennis player when he was younger. Actually, there is a question. The question is, has he taken up pickleball?
No, I haven't, and I think I played once and got hurt. So, pulled a muscle. And that's why I quit playing tennis.
Better than pulling your pickle.
Yeah.
Pickleball.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I was going to say, I was playing tennis. I was early 60s but I was getting hurt every week. And Mrs. Reynolds pointed out to me, so, you play one day and then you're hurt for a week. How good a plan is that? And, and I thought about it and it's like, that's not a good plan. So I was pulling muscles all the time. So friends say, well, boy, pickleball, you'd really like it. And I think I would. I think it's a great game. It's really taken some inroads, certainly for older players, but
who really can't stand pickleball, and I'm not even sure why.
Yeah, Whitey, or excuse me,
Chris.
You're Whitey.
Yeah,
Chris Watkins.
Chris Watkins is not a pickleball guy.
Yeah, no, he's he's probably a little over the edge on that, but and I agree with him. It will affect tennis to some degree. I think we're seeing it, but for the most part, it's a game I think better for older players. But then again, I was watching a pickleball tournament the other day. And you had some young
professional.
This was a women's professional, and they're probably in their late 20s, and they'd been college tennis players.
Yeah,
but
they hit it pretty hard, huh? They're not just sitting back.
Yeah,
there
no,
like,
it's it's very, very, very interesting game. Played at the highest levels. It's like any other sport at the highest levels.
Absolutely not. That's the guy that I assume it's a guy. Maybe it's not. Maybe a young lady. I assume it's a guy. Absolutely not is the one who predicted that the Vikings would beat the 49ers 21-17. Came that close, and absolutely not came back when I mentioned how good that prediction was. I'm always tuned in. Says absolutely not. Love the show. I'm predicting 121-108. The Kings win tomorrow night. So that's good.
That is good news because I feel like you can almost take out to the bank now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's ask you, Jerry, every time the Kings win, we light the beam. Can you give us an idea how many times you think the Kings are going to light the beam this year?
I'm guessing 47 times there'll be a beam lit.
47.
47.
That's really good. That's terrific. But, there are some people that are, well, wait, that's not as many as I won last year.
That is true. 47 is less than 48. And
you were a teacher, weren't you?
Yes, and you could tell right there, couldn't you? Even though it wasn't math. But, I just think the competition is going to determine the fact it's going to be harder to get wins than it was last year. And I think more of the teams that are good will stay a little healthier. So I'm saying they'll win 47, which is less than last year. But conversely, I think they'll be better. They'll be a better team and better ready to play playoff basketball.
What do you think of this? Now, this is something I said last week, and it wasn't very popular, and Mr. Draper did not think much of it. And I think the vast majority of people responding on the text line of the chat didn't think much of it either. and I think you and I have talked about this before. To me, if the Kings make the playoffs this year, that again is a successful season. And I'm not saying they can't do more than that. I'm not saying they can't be better than they were last year in the playoffs, but you consider how long it was since they'd made the playoffs, and things don't always go in linear fashion. You don't always get better every year. I think if the Kings are in the playoffs this year, I think that again is a successful season.
I agree with you. And I know people can be mad at me too, but I agree with that. Though, when you look at the opposition and the potential of making the playoffs and being better prepared to advance in the playoffs, I mean, my personal thing would be, I don't think they'll win as many games, but they might have a better chance to advance.
Right.
And I think
I agree.
I think that's the whole thing. I mean, I go back to when the Kings turned in the late 90s to early 2000s. Each year they got to a point they kept getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while for them to be a true championship contender. And of course, got cheated out of one, but that's that's just my opinion. But I think that's where the Kings are now. They're just in the process of becoming a contender.
What did they go? They went from, of course, you had the lockout year, so they won what, 27,
23, I think it was.
And then they won like 44. And then they went up
55.
Yes.
The third year.
Yeah. And then they were on their way.
And then 61, 59. 55, 52, something like that.
Yeah, because the 44 in year two, if you will, because this is kind of the equivalent of that. This year would be year two. That was kind of a disappointment, right? And then they had a great series against the Lakers. But the season I remember before that season, people talked about 50. They won 44.
Yeah, and actually it was a very, I may be wrong, but I think it was a very bad playoff series. I think the Lakers swept us.
I think they ended up going 5. There was a best of 5, and then I think they lost game 5. But I think the Kings took them 5. That weird best of 5.
I hope you're right. Yeah, I was thinking. For some reason, I had in my mind that
I think it was the next year, because was the next year when Weber was going to leave, and I think the Lakers swept them in a best of 7. Because the next year when they finally won a playoff series, remember they
beat Phoenix in the play for this first playoff series.
Yeah, then they played the Lakers, and then it was like,
I think that's right. That's where the sweep came, but they had won a playoff series. So, but like I say, it was a progression,
right?
That the team got better, and that was the key. And of course, there was players changed. I think a lot of times fans forget that that first team was very different than the team in the fourth year or whatever.
Yeah,
very different.
Tall Chinese guy says Denver's really good. They will have 60 or more wins this year. Everyone else in the West will have 52 to 40 wins. I don't know about everybody in the West, but that doesn't sound too far off.
Be pretty hard for
Portland's not going to win.
No, I mean, well, if you're going to, it evens out. And, overall, however many wins there are in the league totally, there'll be that many losses.
If that's true, that means the East is going to be terrible. Huh?
So a bunch of teams in the East going to win 15 games. And it could happen. We've seen it happen to where I don't think the depth in the East is nearly as much, but their best teams probably are every bit as good or better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be surprised if Denver wins 60. I think they're the best, but I just think the depth of the league, and especially the West, will make it tougher for anybody if they win. And I bet Mike Malone, if you said you get 55 right now, he'd take it.
Nobody won 60 last year, right?
No,
yeah. And I think it's going to be difficult for Denver, having lost Bruce Brown for one thing. Yeah, and then also
and Jeff Green. I thought 2 key reserves.
Yeah, well, Brown and Green. Yeah,
Brown. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
or Green and Brown.
Yeah,
there you go.
But just having won a championship, I mean, they went through. You go through so much to win, and then they won one last year, and it's going to be hard, right, to come back from that. They're off to a good start tonight.
Well,
and it's tough to top.
Yeah, and they won 52 last year. Certainly, they were still the best but that was kind of interesting when there was a lot of more injuries. We don't know how to play out this year. So, yeah, I mean, I just don't see them winning 60, I guess is what I'm saying.
But I agree. I mean, they do look like they're probably going to be the best in the
I think they're the best.
Yeah, this is cliche, Jerry, but if the Clippers are healthy, they could win a ton of games.
Yeah, and they could win the world championship if they're healthy. They've got 2 of the top 15 players in the league when healthy. Certainly Kawhi is probably one of the top 3 or 4 when healthy, which is never.
Mhm.
So you got
Right.
you got to factor that in.
Yeah. I got to point this out. Another example of your expertise was just when a year ago, whatever it was, when the Clippers picked up Westbrook. And I know I thought, yeah, good luck with that. And Jerry said, I think that could work. And it has.
It has, and I think the reason, with the Lakers, basically he really couldn't play with the ball as much because obviously LeBron. And so, and for him to be effective, he's got to be the point guard basically. And the Clippers, he was allowed to be, and, kind of worked, and, just his consistent effort. He can always say, it's one of those deals. He was never quite as good as the Lakers thought he was supposed to be, and never as bad as they thought he was when he left.
Mhm.
It was a case where, he's not one of the 10 best players in the league anymore, but, he's still one of the 30 best.
He's an interesting guy. He's very stubborn sometimes, but he really likes to play, doesn't he?
Yes, that's what I like about him. The guy competes every night, every play. And the fact he can't shoot very well, okay, that keeps him from being an all-time great. That's for sure. But, to get a guy that you can count on going out there and giving you a great effort and still being, generally speaking, productive in a different sort of way. He's not going to hit 5 threes for you, but as long as he doesn't shoot too much,
right?
You that's the key for him. It's like, be a little selective, Russ.
Yes,
Kind of turn some of those down you think you can make.
Jerry in for Drapes. When we come right back, what is up with the Kings at the 2-guard spot? Get the former King head coach's views on that when we return here to the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
The 82-game NBA journey begins Wednesday for the Sacramento Kings.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
The G-Man Gary Gerald has all the play-by-play Wednesday of season number 39 in Sacramento.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker.
It's the Kings and Jazz in the season opener from Utah.
He's got the three-point shot.
Wednesday at 6 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Here's a suggestion for you, Jerry, on the chat here from Martin. Thank you, Martin. Jerry, you should plan to commentate a Kings game in the future live. For example, a Kings watch party somewhere near the Golden One Center. I bet, you'd love that, wouldn't you?
They would. It's a kind of a close call. Certainly I enjoy watching the team play, but as far as being
you're not going to do that, right? Someone's doing it. The game's already got a commentator.
Yeah, they got that. And they don't need me, and so I say I got a kick out of a couple of years ago when I think Katie was sick, and I filled in a couple of games. It was kind of fun, and we had to do it from the studio, and got through it. I can't say it was outstanding effort or anything, but it was a good outstanding effort. It just wasn't really, I don't know, because I was in the studio.
Oh, so it's difficult?
Yeah. When the team was, and Mark Jones wasn't in the studio with me. So it was, took a lot of creativity, I think, but we got through it. We didn't, so.
Yeah.
Something emergency like that.
So you're kind of always on standby potentially.
Well, I would always be available if healthy to help the Kings. I owe them. That's the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm. Here's the type of guy Jerry is. He doesn't flaunt it, but this is, we say he's a legend, and he is not only around here though. He's what he's done in basketball is so incredible. I went to pick him up at his house once to do our podcast, and he asked, I had to wait in his house for him for a second to get ready, and I'm just waiting for him, and you have this big like cabinet with all these pictures and stuff, all this basketball stuff, all these scrapbooks and things. And I think you said that your wife actually put a lot of it together. And there's this picture there that's kind of like on the side, like out of the way. And for some reason it caught my attention. So this is like, it's not even really on display. And what's this? I look at this picture and it's like you and Julius Erving.
Yeah.
And it's just like tucked out of the way. Like any of us, we'd have that prominently displayed. And you've got all that stuff in your history that you're just kind of,
well,
kind of private about.
Well, it's just it's memories, and as you go through life, and luckily, I went through a bunch of life, being I'll be 80 years old for God's sakes in January. So just being in the game for so long, you run across a lot of people, had a lot of experiences at all levels of play, just about, and been around some of the great ones. Mm-hmm. And liked them a lot, and some of the great ones I didn't, and some of the not so great I really thought the world of. So that's like that's people. And I always say I always said just it's a thrill for me to get to work with Bill Russell and Willis Reed. Very different guys. Bill was unique and kind of difficult at times, but I really liked him. He treated me well. And then Willis Reed, just like I always thought he was, just salt of the earth, hard worker, just the best. So, and those are. Did
you ever get starstruck with those guys?
I did at first, and then, but it wasn't, but it's a job. And so that, like I say, it went away pretty quick, but I I grew up, they were among the greatest. So,
and still are.
Really. Yeah. Like I say, so, but once you get into the daily grind, you're
got a job to do.
You got a job to do. And like with us at the end of it is like, me and Willis were sitting in coach, just like they're together. That's how important we were.
Didn't you say you went to like a high school basketball game that was it your uncle played in? And that's kind of your first memory of you just like you saw, it's like, this is great.
Yeah, that was my dad took me to, I think I was in the first grade, and took me to see a high school game between the French Lick Red Devils and the West Baden Sprudels.
The Sprudels had a good club that year, I think.
They weren't near as good as the Red Devils, but because that was my uncle, Richard Morgan, was kind of the star of the team. And, of course, little high school gym, but packed and everything. And I just was, look at the beautiful uniforms and everything. And I thought, wow, if I could just play for the French Lick Red Devils. Of course, that didn't happen because two schools consolidated, West Baden and French Lick, and became Spring Valley. But that was it.
So you kind of did.
But it was a kind of but that's, that was kind of the start of it.
That's
I was
incredible.
Hooked, and then I always remember about the first week we got TV. That happened to be the time when Milan, Indiana, won the state championship against Muncie Central, which became, Hoosiers. That's what the movie was based on. Milan, a school of 120, beat Muncie Central school of 3,000. Because there's an open class state at that time.
And then there's a rumor, but I still don't believe it, that you one time, you stole the ball from your own brother and you were on the same team and you wouldn't pass it to him, or
no, I stole the ball
from
the opposition, made a great steal,
sure,
obviously quick hands. It's just breathtaking, in fact.
Right.
And my brother was a sophomore at that time. I was a senior, and he was ahead of me on the break. Nobody else.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to risk passing it, maybe could make a mistake, so that was my story. I'm going to stick to it. And I went ahead and scored it. And of course, he took a little personal that I should have thrown to him. So we got in an argument on the court. and my mom, after the game, she was said, "I'm so ashamed of both of you boys." She was just kind of, which, I understand why.
Yeah.
Looking back.
Did you say, "Mom, did you see the steal?" And
I did tell her. I said, "Mom, I stole it, and I was, no reason to pass it to Jeff because he's just a little ahead. He didn't steal it." And so anyway, it was a learning experience, and my mom, said that, better not happen again, or I won't let you play anymore.
Yeah,
either one of you.
Oh yeah,
because she was offended by my younger brother too, because he shouldn't, even though I was selfish and should have did it, but he didn't need to come up and shove me during the game.
Oh, that's true. Wow. Oh, wow. And then, a learning experience.
Yeah, but just part of growing up.
Jared, what do you think of this situation the Kings seem to have at the two-guard situation? We have Kevin Huerter, and he had a great year last year, didn't shoot the ball well in the playoffs, and you know this better than I do, and now he wasn't starting for some of the preseason. Duarte started. He got hurt. Colby Jones is playing great. People aren't sure. Even Kevin Huerter said he wasn't sure what Mike Brown was doing there. What do you make of that situation?
Well, I do think it's going to be important for Kevin to get off to a good start. I think maybe a little lingering of the playoffs, even though, as we've talked about, Kevin's young. He's really should be in the prime of his career, if anything, getting better. And, people talk about his playoffs, but he had 2 great playoff series or 3 with the Hawks where he really performed well a few years ago. So I don't make as much of that as some people, because I would say, hey, he's done it. It's not like he hadn't done it before. He just didn't do it last year. But having said all that, I think he's probably, on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to get off to a good start. And because Mike Brown does have some different ways to go if he wants to make a change to his lineup. And if he did want to make a change, that's probably the only spot that he could comfortably do it.
How much of it do you think is about what's going on defensively? Because Kevin Huerter, even at his best, it's not one of his strong suits, and the team needs better defense wherever they can find it. And Duarte is probably a better defender, and Colby Jones has shown that he's got some ability as well.
Yeah, I think they're both maybe better than Kevin that way, minimally in Duarte's case. If I were Coach Brown, I'd start Davion if I was going to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
I know people would say, well, he's not very big. No, but he plays big.
If you can guard people, what does it matter? Yeah.
Guard the crap out of them. If you want to get better defensively, you might ought to get better defense on the floor.
Yeah.
So, and I think he and Fox would be fine together.
I think Davion's jump shot, I thought it looked good before he did all the work, and he's had success with it. It's one of the things I'm really excited about with the Kings this year. I think he makes a higher percentage of his shots. He's going to stay on the floor longer, and I give him credit for recognizing that and working on that.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's gotten a little better each year. And like I say, I always thought he's the kind of player, when you saw him when Fox was injured a year or so ago, that extended minutes, he plays better. He's just one of those guys that he'll fill the stat sheet if he's out there, and usually pretty good stats.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he would run point if he were playing with De'Aaron Fox? Because he's kind of almost a throwback as far as being a pure point guard.
Well, I think it'd be a pretty good fit. I think this reason is that they're both 1.5, maybe to some degree. And I think defensively, the way he plays would probably help Fox and even encourage Fox. And together, I think that would be a terrific defensive guard line with Fox's length and ability. Now, would they get overmatched, or especially Davion size-wise occasionally? Sure. But I think the pluses outweigh the minuses.
Mm-hmm. Because, as we know, the best rim protection is to keep the ball out of the paint in the first place, and Davion will help you do that.
Yeah, one thing about him is he keeps the ball in front of him.
Yes.
And that's usually kind of important for it to start. He's tough to have for defenders to keep him in front, but he can keep just about anybody in front of him.
One of my favorite things I learned from you, I like to think I knew it before watching you, but I appreciated it when you said, you have to guard the guy with the ball, because it's amazing how many times people will just leave a guy with a ball.
It just always used to drive me nuts, not just as a coach, but as a broadcaster. When you see guys with the ball and he'll fake to somebody and the guy will run over there. It's like, well, what's the chances of the guy without the ball scoring? Not very much.
The wisdom of Jerry. We will learn more from Jerry when we come back. Once a defensive liability, this guy's now considered a top NBA defender. And if he can do it, why can't the Kings? What Jerry has to say about that is next here on The Drive Guy, Sactown Sports.
The 82-game NBA journey begins Wednesday for the Sacramento Kings.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
The G-Man Gary Gerald has all the play-by-play Wednesday of season number 39 in Sacramento.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker.
It's the Kings and Jazz in the season opener from Utah.
He's got the three-point shot.
Wednesday at 6 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
At Harbor Freight, we think you shouldn't have to break the bank to get great tools. Because we know that for some of you, tools are part of the job. And for others, they're just the beginning of making, fixing, restoring, and building. That's why we make high-quality tools that are priced affordably, because we love being the start of all your working, making, fixing, restoring, and building. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
It's time to trade in and trade up at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com. It's all a click away.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own one report.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles, drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. Makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Knee, hip, foot, leg, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Homecoming night for Sacramento State football this Saturday versus Idaho State Bengals. Kickoff 6 p.m. Come early and enjoy the festivities. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Tuesday, I'm Simone, and these are your Sactown sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers dropped their second consecutive game last night with a 22-17 loss to the Minnesota Vikings.
Purdy steps up, gets to his right, throws middle. It is intercepted by Bynum. The 49ers lose again.
With the Bengals crouched on the horizon and a short week ahead, the faithful have to find a way to enter their bye week at 6-2 rather than 5-3. Tonight, immediately following the Drive Guys, the return of the Empire Live 49ers show has a ton of baggage to unpack. Keep it locked right here, beginning at 6 with Kyle, Nate, and Emil. The 2023-24 NBA season is finally here, and to celebrate opening day, Whitey and Jerry will continue to unveil their expert predictions ahead of the Kings' season opener tomorrow over in Utah. And finally, Rangers punched their ticket to the World Series with an 11-4 victory over the Astros last night.
Hello, World Series! The Rangers have won their third American League pennant.
And finally, the fate of the NL pennant rests on Game 7. Diamondbacks strike first 1-0 over the Phillies, top of the second. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Let's get you back to more Drive Guys.
Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Very special edition of the show. Kyle in Salt Lake City. He arrived today. Of course, he's got the call for the Kings and the Jazz tomorrow. Very excited to talk to Kyle tomorrow. He'll be coming to us from Salt Lake City. Of course, Jerry Reynolds in studio today. The great, truly great Jerry Reynolds. And it's a great way to tip off the start of the NBA season. Jerry, with all this talk of the Kings and how they need to improve defensively, I have a question for you. I just saw today in The Athletic, they did a coaches poll, and the coaches picked their best defenders in the NBA right now. And I think Drew Holiday was named by the coaches the best defender, but they picked their all defensive team, first team. And Brook Lopez is one of the guys who was honored by the coaches. And I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there was a time early in his career when he was considered a defensive liability.
Oh, absolutely.
So if Brook Lopez can go from a guy's like he's a bad defender to an all league in the coach's mind's defender, well, is there in there some hope for this Kings team to improve defensively?
Absolutely. And that's a great example of that. And, because Brook really early in his career he could score, and he really didn't shoot deep either. He was basically a low post back to the basket kind of guy. He would step out and shoot 10, 12
That was
footers.
with the Nets, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And defensively, he really had a tough time covering people. And really, I think he could block shots a little bit, but not like he can now. But as we talked about off the air, is that I'm convinced it's all true. He's a good, excellent defender and one of the best. But he's allowed to play in that that block charge area, because Giannis is so versatile. He'll patrol, and basically so Brook can kind of stay around the basket.
So he's got less area to defend.
Area to defend, and certainly from an individual standpoint, most of the time the best big is going to be guarded by Giannis, so he can play off the ball a little more, all that sort of thing. To me, that's kind of why I would like to see Davion and Fox play more together, because I think it would actually, would help Fox defensively. To where he would have a chance to use his quickness more and all that. But anyway.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting thing how some guys clearly can get better. Part of it's how they're used. I always say that's only two things you can do with players is motivate them correctly and use them correctly.
And part of it has to be just to that point about motivation. I know Brook Lopez went to Stanford, so I know he's a smart guy and everything, but he had the wherewithal to figure out how he needed to improve, and he had the courage, I guess, to actually do the work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's one of those guys early on as a big said, I it really helped me if I could learn to shoot the three. Well, of course, he's terrific at it. And now, more and more guys, that's almost a staple of their game, but I think
it's incredible.
I think he did it really early on.
How about Domas Sabonis? And I think you and I have talked about this before. It's a cliche for people to say that in basketball, defense is just how hard you want to work. And it's not true at the NBA level, because Domas works as hard as anybody. He wants to play defense as hard as anybody, and he gives it everything he has, but he's still somewhat limited. So how does he get better? How do the Kings make their defense around him better?
Well, you hit on some things there. I think there's nobody works harder than Domas. I mean, I've never seen a player in my life, a big player that runs the floor as hard, his stamina is just amazing.
Played with a broken thumb last year.
Yeah, and sets 100 good screens every game, where most big guys might set 2.
Yeah, I know you're a big believer in the screen assist, right?
Yeah, I am becoming so.
Okay.
I mean, I do think that it's a skill that's not appreciated nearly enough.
Yeah.
And but as far as defense, his reactions aren't great. He's got a little bit short-armed, so that hurts him. The biggest thing that hurts him is he has to guard, just switch off too many guys coming to the basket. In other words, just about any center, if they're going to have to defend a bunch of straight line drive guys that got loose coming, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And so he picks them up and they drop off for a dunk or layup, or he fouls them. And that's the other part, is he knows he's got to stay on the floor for the Kings to win. So he is not really, he doesn't want to get in foul trouble early, and that makes him a weaker defender as well. But it's better for the team.
Try this comparison on, because I know that Draymond Green is not the most popular guy around here, but trying to embellish the point you made, because I covered the Warriors a lot the last couple of years, and Draymond Green has been, he made that poll as well. I think he's a very good defender. Last year, the Warriors defense was not what it had been, and people pointed to him and said he's not as good as he once was, and maybe that's true, but it was also this: Draymond Green, and he's defensively doing a lot of things that Sabonis has to do. He's back there as kind of a fireman, anticipating there's a fire there, he could put it out. Last year, there were too many fires.
Yeah.
His hose wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
There's fires all over the place, and that's what Sabonis has to do sometimes when the defense is breaking down in multiple places, and he's back there trying to protect the rim. You can't. There's too many. The defense is already too broken down by the time he comes into play.
Yeah, it's kind of like being a soccer goalie when you got you've got numbers against you all the time. It's pretty tough. Yeah, I don't care if you're Bill Russell. Yeah, you might can be in a good spot there, or Mutombo, or some of the great defenders in the past. But for most guys, and I mean that includes Embiid or Jokic, whoever. I mean, if you're going to allow a bunch of offensive players to have straight line shots,
the red carpet is rolled out for the other team's guards.
And that's why I think the outstanding defensive teams, that's where they really protect the drive, stay in front of the ball, make them move the ball, let them move the ball around the perimeter as comfortably as they want to. Just don't let them go straight to the basket.
See, I think that's one of the reasons Milwaukee was such a good defensive team last year. They have some really, really great defenders, but also it was the style that Budenholzer played.
I agree with you. I think Budenholzer was really underrated as a defensive coach. Now, a lot of it he was allowed to do because he had two great defenders in Antetokounmpo and Drew Holiday, and maybe near great when what he did in Brook. And so that allows you some things. But I always thought that if you let teams move the ball around the perimeter and still can cover them on the 3-point shot, well, that makes your game a lot, and certainly protects your inside people.
Well, speaking of shoddy defense, that's what the 49ers were guilty of last night. We're going to have Emil and Nate. Nate's been hanging out here, but Emil and Nate, they got Return of the Empire coming up here. They're going to join us in just a second for a little crosstalk, Jerry, and with their help, maybe we'll figure out where in the heck the 49ers go from here, after last night's loss.
Well, they'll know.
They will know.
They'll know. I'm not worried about it.
They will share that with us next as the Drive Guys continue on Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Quick Quack Car Wash.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear tonight with overnight lows in the low 50s. Tomorrow, look for increasing clouds, and by late afternoon or early evening, we may see a brief shower. Look for highs in the upper 60s to around 70. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
There's just something about fall that makes me want to enjoy every moment. The changing leaves, the pumpkin patches, and you know what else won't last? Quick Quack's new pumpkin spice scented car wash. Text SPICE to 41284 to get 50% off any wash.
It's the model year-end sales event at Acura of Stockton. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Lease a new Acura RDX or MDX. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton or AcuraofStockton.com, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips.
With over 100 years as a family-owned company, EB Stones learned a few things about making plants grow. Start a healthy family hobby with indoor planting with EB Stones' Edna's Best Indoor and Outdoor Potting Soil to help your little plants grow into the perfect indoor plant for the kids and family to enjoy. EB Stones' Indoor and Outdoor Potting Soil is perfectly blended with all the important ingredients you need to create that perfect indoor and outdoor plant or garden. EB Stone, for the life of your garden. Visit ebstone.org for more gardening tips, products, and locations near you.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports.
Igor, my faithful companion, it is time to prepare for the night. The shadows grow long, and the creatures of the night stir with excitement.
Yes, Master Dracula. What do you require of me?
I need you to fire up the hearse. Elk Grove Kia is having a Halloween sale that is to die for. We're going to upgrade you a new car worthy of the Prince of Darkness. I'm so excited. It is making my blood shiver.
But Master, with your credit history, aren't you worried you're going to get turned down?
Igor, shut up. Elk Grove Kia's finance department has over 100 years of experience. They can even get me approved, even with my troubled past. And Elk Grove Kia's exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on all new Kias, it's almost like having an immortal car.
Elk Grove Kia's Halloween sale is so good, it's scaring the competition. In fact, it's so scary, we can't even advertise the pricing. So whether you're in need of a new or used car, make your way to Elk Grove Kia in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, or visit us at elkgrovekia.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916 Sactown Sports.
Yeah, Emil and Nate joining us here as they get ready for the return of the Empire. And guys, I know you have a lot to talk about after last night. And normally we set you up for that, which we can do. But I figure with, the basketball season starting tonight and the great Jerry Reynolds here, I know you guys are longtime Kings fans. And Nate was just talking to Jerry about the early days of the Kings here when they didn't have a practice facility and you guys had to practice all over the place, junior colleges and places.
Oh yeah, we Consumers River, American River, the Salvation Army, the State Highway Patrol had a gym we used some. And so it'd be something different about every.
Was that complicated to get everybody in the same place at the same time?
It wasn't complicated. We just didn't get it done. I mean, it'd just be somebody'd say, be at Consumers River when we were practicing American River. And one time it was me, which that probably helped the practice. I wasn't there. They probably had a better practice.
Oh, my gosh.
But it was, it's a whole different world. People just, I know, how it was 100 years ago with baseball sports, but just my experiences, it was interesting because flying coach, and flying commercial. And of course, I always said that was my first understanding of my pecking order was you get on the plane and then the older veteran players, they had by the collective bargaining agreement, they could fly first class if there was first class seats available. So you get on the plane and there's your players, and then you coach and assistant and trainer would get on the move on back to the
Wow, that's backwards.
So that was kind of and we didn't, you never traveled a press room person, press person or something like that. So I'd be in the, get in the room and, I was the press person, they'd be all kind of, reporters calling and, this kind of stuff. So I didn't realize, and that was looking back is really a pain in the butt, boy.
So you were media relations, basically.
I was media relations.
Wow.
And had one trainer and didn't travel equipment people either. Now, what they did then is they had the home team would take the equipment and wash it for you, just like ours would.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
They didn't make you carry it.
Okay.
That's good.
And then, but I always said, like with on the commercial flights and stuff, all the players got their own gear. You go to just like you would as a regular traveler. And of course, rookies would be required to get the extra equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So, you'd see the rookies schlepping all the different equipment.
Yeah. Emil's that's a Reggie Theus, right?
Yeah, it
Reggie
is.
Theus.
Reg he was the best. He was,
great mustache.
He wasn't that excited about coming to Sacramento, as I recall.
No, he said Sacramento's not California.
Yeah.
That didn't help his image.
No, it didn't.
But Reg was, he's a great talent. Reggie should have been, he had Hall of Fame talent. He really did. He just, other things were more important to him, I think.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you obviously called Kings games forever. Any like special stories, maybe significant stories that stick out of maybe fans getting involved or something crazy that happened while you were calling a game and you had to stay focused?
Well, there was, I tell you, the toughest thing for me, and it wasn't the fans, but I had a bridge and 4 teeth, and I was on a flight. We were going to Seattle, and I was eating an ice cream bar and broke it. And so I didn't have 4 teeth.
Oh man!
And we had to play Seattle at that time, and then Utah the next night. And so I did 2 games with no teeth, no front teeth, and I told the producer and all them. I said, just don't have any close-ups.
Yeah.
We didn't have any close-ups. So, and I tried not to smile much. And, but I always remember, because I called after the Seattle game. I remember I said to my wife, I said, how'd I sound? And she said, I think you sound better without your teeth. so, that kind of, I figured at least it was all right. So we got through it. But that was, what do you do? It's like you can't do anything till you get back,
Gotta
go with it. Show must go on.
If it was October, this time you could put those vampire teeth in.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Right? Just pop those in and say you're being festive.
Yeah, that's something I should have done.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the deal when I'd forgotten any slacks. We went to Memphis and I'd forgotten to pack slacks.
Yeah.
And so Well, I got to get some.
Yeah.
It was real rainy, and so his only place was the Peabody Hotel, very nice one there.
Isn't that where they have the ducks or whatever?
Yeah. And they had a shop there, the men's shop there in the hotel. So I go there to buy slacks. I could find them, and I forgot to ask about the price, because I gotta have slacks. They had to, basically tailor them and everything for me so I could get them the same day. So I go pick them up, and it's like $284.
Jeez.
And I just about, crapped, I said, man, $284. I don't buy $284 slacks. Well, of course, come to find out, I should have checked. Well, that was supposedly Elvis Presley's tailor and all that stuff. But I don't believe. But they I said, well, I'm not Elvis. I don't really make that kind of money. But 200, and then so I wore them at night, and that's the last time I've worn them. I got them.
Oh, you're not wearing them right now?
No, I've got them in plastic, and they're like a trophy.
Nice.
You
Nice.
You don't want to just wear those in public.
Sell those on eBay.
It's a great story.
Well, if I'd had to again, it's like Grant always said, wait, you could have just worn your warm-up pants.
Yeah.
I said, no, I know damn well you guys would have made a fool.
Yeah.
I
Made a
could
big
have
deal of it.
if you guys wouldn't have taken advantage of me,
Yeah.
But so anyway.
So Jerry had, what'd you say, 47 times they light the beam this year? That was your prediction for the
47 times that
Yeah.
beam is going to be lit. And
What are you guys thinking? Where do you guys have?
Yeah, I'm floating in that area. I think I'll be crazy. I'll say 50.
50.
They hit that
Wow.
number.
Wow.
They hit that number.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the over-under is 44.5. So 45 wins get you the over, and I think that's definitely something to hit. But I'm going to go with Nate. I think it's 50 times.
I think they might have a little chip on their shoulder.
I hope you're right. I'm supporting you guys 100%.
Did you guys see yesterday they were testing the beam? Did anyone catch that?
Some pictures
I
of it.
I did too.
Yeah.
It was
A little brighter.
nice. They were testing it.
I just wonder how many
Test.
other teams now will start something like that.
I know.
That was
It's
very,
coming.
that
Yeah.
was a tremendous move by the Kings. I thought just one of the best in history,
Innovative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they copyright it or anything? Do we know that? Can you copyright an object?
Well, I could write the beam perhaps, but then there's so many other things that teams can do.
Yeah, and that's
It's
fine.
not going to be
right?
easy.
If other teams do.
I just wish they'd copyright the uniforms and stay with something.
Yeah. I think there's 4 new jerseys this year.
I like
4?
I like the alternates though, the city jerseys, the retros back to the Rochester Royals. They look very, very good this year.
Yeah, Scott, we talk about it, Spidey and I do, but I just wish they would kind of get to us and stay with a certain type.
Yeah, the colors
can't
are
sell
all over the
jerseys that
place.
way, Jerry. Can't sell jerseys that way.
I know. No, I know.
Yeah.
The Celtics, the Lakers, and Duke, and Kentucky, and UCLA, they don't change. And
yeah.
Thank you very much for coming in and helping us out
Thank
today.
you, Jerry.
Yeah,
hey,
it's,
enjoyed it.
yeah.
I certainly 4 hours probably more than I should handle. I need my naps, but appreciate it.
You should have just
listeners
slept through the
appreciate
second
it. Yeah.
hour.
Yeah. All right, we've got the Return of the Empire. Obviously, a lot to talk about.
Yep.
Emil and Nate take care of you on that front next, right here on Sactown Sports.
Will Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers brass go all the way this season? Could the Niners win their first Super Bowl since 1995? Join us throughout the season to hear all the games and all the analysis on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for